Liu Feng rubbed his sleepy eyes and got up from the small rental house. Outside the window was the hustle and bustle of Shanghai, a city that never sleeps, and neon lights flashing like countless cat's eyes. He glanced at his phone. The alarm clock showed 7:30 in the morning, late. He grabbed his coat and hurried out the door. The corridor was filled with the smell of cooking fumes from the neighbors' cooking, mixed with the aroma of the steamed buns from the breakfast stall downstairs, making his stomach churn. "Hey, it's such a bad day again," Liu Feng muttered in a low voice, squeezing onto the crowded subway, sandwiched among white-collar workers in suits and ties, like a trapped fish. He was 25 years old and had just graduated from a second-rate university. He was working as a copywriter in a small advertising company with a monthly salary of 5,000. After deducting rent and food money, there was not much left. Dream? Reality has long worn it off, and all I can do is work overtime until late at night every day, then go home and fall asleep. Today he was unlucky. The subway was late, so he had to take a shortcut through an alley. The alleys were littered with rubbish, and the air smelled of moldy dampness. Suddenly something hard was kicked under his feet. He looked down and saw a jade slip the size of a fist. Its surface was engraved with simple patterns and had a faint green luster. Liu Feng picked it up and wiped the dust off, feeling warm in his hands and trembling slightly like a living thing. Where did this thing come from? An antique? He said to himself, stuffed it into his pocket, and continued on his way. In the company, the boss roared in the conference room again, "Liu Feng, your plan is terrible. Redo it." He lowered his head in response, but he was thinking about the jade slip. During lunch break, he hid in the tea room and secretly took it out to play with. When his fingers touched the center of the jade slip, a dazzling green light burst out and rushed straight into his mind. Ah! Liu Feng's eyesight went dark, and a massive amount of information flooded into his mind, ancient secrets of cultivating immortals. Alchemy, dual cultivation techniques, spiritual energy circulation. The jade slips are actually inherited items, coming from the great immortal cultivators thousands of years ago. The information came flooding in, and he gritted his teeth to hold on, sweat breaking out on his forehead. Gradually, everything calmed down. He opened his eyes and felt that his body was much lighter, and the original fatigue was swept away. Cultivating immortals? Isn't this something in novels? Liu Feng murmured, feeling overwhelmed with emotion. But the warm current flowing through his meridians convinced him that it was true. The jade slip has integrated into his body and become a living book in the sea of consciousness. He tried to circulate his spiritual energy according to the secret manual, and a wisp of coolness rose from his dantian and spread throughout his limbs and bones. There seemed to be hidden energy echoing in the air, and among the tall buildings in the distance, a breath that did not belong to mortals occasionally flashed. After get-off work, he didn't go home and went straight to the nearby medicinal materials market. The first step in the alchemy technique taught by the jade slips is to use mortal herbs to refine a simple qi-gathering pill, which can quench the body's constitution. The street vendor looked at him askance. "Young man, why are you buying these wild ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum? Are you making elixirs?" Liu Feng smiled. "Uncle, don't joke, just treat it as healthcare." He spent 500 yuan to buy all the materials, returned to the rental house, and locked the door. The room was so small that it was difficult to turn around, so he cleared a corner, spread it with newspapers, and sat down cross-legged according to the instructions on the jade slip. Knead the formula with both hands, recite the formula silently in your mouth, and inject a wisp of spiritual energy into the pile of medicinal materials. The air was filled with a faint medicinal aroma, mixed with a burnt smell. He was so nervous that his palms became sweaty and beads of sweat rolled down the bridge of his nose. Suddenly, the medicinal materials melted into liquid and condensed into a pill as big as a thumb, with a surface as smooth as jade. Liu Feng swallowed it, and a stream of heat suddenly exploded. His meridians felt like they were being burned by fire, and like being washed by a clear spring. He groaned and gritted his teeth and persisted. Half an hour later, the pain subsided, his body felt as light as nothing, his vision became much clearer, and he could even hear the subtle hum of the traffic downstairs. This is amazing. Liu Feng stood up, clenched his fist, and there was a faint sound of wind. He opened the window and felt the night breeze blowing in his face. In the distance, there were tall buildings along the Huangpu River, but now he could feel that there was a different world hidden behind those lights. The jade slips mention that in modern cities, there are groups of immortal cultivators who live in low-key seclusion and compete for scarce spiritual energy resources. On the black market, pills are hard currency and can be exchanged for money and status. Some of these people have transformed into rich people, while others have hidden themselves in the market. They are calm on the surface but constantly fighting secretly. Liu Feng's heartbeat quickened. This was his chance. Starting from a small workshop, he made alchemy and sold it to make money. With his business acumen, he studied marketing in college. He might be able to make a name for himself. He decided to test the waters and sell some simple elixirs on the black market. I searched online and found a secret forum. I registered an account and posted, "New product, Qi Gathering Pill, sold at a low price. It can heal wounds and replenish Qi." That night, he practiced 5 of them, wrapped them up and stuffed them into his backpack. The black market was in an underground bar in the old city. He wore a mask and slipped in. Inside, filled with smoke and the stench of alcohol and sweat, a group of people were trading in hushed tones, selling everything from antiques to counterfeit banknotes. Liu Feng found a corner and knocked on the table. Sitting across from him was a bearded man. "Brother, a new face? What are you selling?" "Qi Gathering Pill, 5 pills, 1,000 yuan. Liu Feng lowered his voice, feeling anxious. The man squinted his eyes and came closer to smell it. "Real product? Let me try it." He swallowed one and his eyes lit up. "Damn, this aura is pure. Where did you get it?" "I made it at home." Liu Feng pretended to be calm, took the money and breathed a sigh of relief. The first business is done. The man's name was Ahu, and he patted him on the shoulder. "Boy, you have a bright future. Bring more next time, and I'll introduce you to the buyer." Liu Feng left the bar. The night breeze blew away the stuffy heat of the bar, and he felt like he was reborn. It's a small amount of money, but it's a starting point. After returning home, he planned to expand the scale, buy a better furnace, and learn more advanced elixir recipes. The dual cultivation method in the jade slip also made his heart move. It required a partner to complement his spiritual energy and speed up his cultivation, but now, he was still weak, so he had to steady his steps first. At noon the next day, he went to the market to restock supplies, but bumped into a middle-aged man in the alley. The other person was thin, wearing a plain shirt, and his eyes were as deep as a pool. "Boy, there are spiritual energy fluctuations in your body." The man suddenly spoke, his voice low. Liu Feng was startled and took half a step back. "Who are you?" The man smiled and took out a jade pendant from his arms. "My name is Zishuan, and I have lived in seclusion in this city for many years. Your elixir has spread in the black market. The purity of the Qi gathering elixir is not like that of a novice." Liu Feng was alert, but Zishuan's aura reassured him, and there was a faint sense of powerful spiritual pressure. "Are you also an immortal cultivator?" Zishuan nodded and pulled him into a nearby tea house. The fragrance of tea lingered, and there was busy traffic outside the window. He whispered, "This city looks like a paradise for mortals, but in fact it is a nest of immortal cultivators. The spiritual energy is thin, and everyone competes for resources. Families like the Wang family and the Zhao family are doing business on the surface, but secretly refining elixirs and grabbing treasures. You have inherited the jade slips and have a good background, but don't be reckless. Dual cultivation techniques are especially dangerous, and you need a partner who you trust absolutely, otherwise the spiritual energy will backfire and ruin a person's body." Liu Feng listened intently, and his hand holding the teacup trembled slightly. "Master, can you teach me?" Zishuan shook his head, but handed over a pamphlet. "I am not your master, but I will give you some pointers. Start with a solid foundation, and don't rush to expand. The black market is watched by that boy Wang Lei. His family is an old cultivating immoral family, specializing in grabbing secret recipes. You have a business acumen and use pills to open the way, but remember, cultivating immortality is not a child's play, it is a step-by-step journey. Liu Feng took the booklet and felt a surge of blood in his heart. Zixuan's words were like fire that ignited his ambition. He is no longer the mediocre office worker, he wants to build an empire, start with pills, and conquer this hidden world. In the next few days, Liu Feng quit his job and devoted himself wholeheartedly. He rented a small warehouse in the suburbs as a workshop, bought an electric furnace and converted it into an alchemy furnace, upgraded the elixir recipe according to the jade slips, and refined the body-tempering elixir one level stronger than the qi-gathering elixir, which can strengthen the muscles and bones, and the selling price doubled. In the warehouse, the aroma of medicine overflowed, mixed with the beeping sound of metal heating. He was sweating profusely, but he was very excited. The first batch of 10 body-tempering pills came out, crystal clear, and the spiritual energy was released. Liu Feng packaged it carefully and posted on the black market, high-efficiency body-tempering pill, limited edition, come soon. As soon as the news came out, the forum exploded, and Ahu was the first to reply, "Boy, you are making a fortune. Wang Lei's people have already asked the price, be careful." Liu Feng looked at the phone and raised the corners of his mouth. The undercurrent of the black market was rushing towards him, and he felt that the outline of the empire was slowly taking shape in the night. Liu Feng turned off his cell phone. The electric stove in the warehouse was still humming. The residual warmth of the body-tempering pill filled the air with a faint fragrance of vegetation. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked out the window at the suburban night, with the headlights of the highway in the distance streaking across like shooting stars. This place is remote and the rent is cheap, which is perfect for him to start in a low-key manner. Ahu's words echoed in his mind. Wang Lei's people were already targeting him, but he didn't panic. Instead, he felt fierce. The business head told him that he had to optimize the production line, reduce costs, and improve efficiency in order to gain a foothold in this secretive black market. Early the next morning, Liu Feng drove a second-hand pickup truck straight to the medicinal wholesale market. The stall was very lively, with uncles and aunties shouting about wild ginseng and ginseng slices, and the air was filled with the smell of earth and medicine. Unlike the last time he bought it for free, this time he directly bargained with a few old vendors and bought bulk supplies, astragalus, dangshan, and ganoderma powder. He spent a total of 2,000 yuan, enough to refine 50 pills. On the way back to the warehouse, he calculated while driving. According to the elixir prescription on the jade slip, the body-tempering elixir was too high-end and expensive, and newcomers on the black market could not afford it. He had to recommend a product with a low-threshold qi-nourishing pill, which was specially designed to replenish qi and heal injuries. Although the effect was not as powerful as the body-tempering pill, it was affordable, with each pill selling for 50 yuan. It could be mass-produced and make small profits but quick turnover. In the warehouse, he modified the electric stove to be simpler. He added an automatic stirrer, which he bought cheaply from Taobao to save time and effort. Liu Feng sat down cross-legged, and his spiritual energy flowed into the pile of medicinal materials like silk threads. Sweat ran down his back and felt sticky to the touch, but he gritted his teeth and persisted. A few hours later, the first batch of qi-nourishing pills came out, 10 small round beads with a soft white light on the surface. They smelled like aged pu'er, warm and not greasy. He tried to swallow one, and his dantian suddenly felt warm, and the fatigue from last night was gone. "It's done," he said to himself, packed it into a small box, and labeled it qi-nourishing pill, quick-acting qi replenishment, first choice for healing. In the afternoon, he posted on the black market forum, "Qi-nourishing pill, new product on the market. 50 pills per pill, outstanding efficacy, limited to 20 pills, first come first served." As soon as the news came out, the replies flooded the screen. Ahu was the first to grab it. "Boy, are you kidding me? See you at the same place, bring 10. Liu Feng smiled, picked up his bag and went out. The black market underground bar still smelled of tobacco and alcohol. As soon as he entered, he was stared at by several pairs of eyes. In the corner, Ahu waved, "Come on, let me have a look." Liu Feng handed one over, Ahu bit it, and the spiritual energy entered his body. He narrowed his eyes and said, "This is much better than the wild products on the market. It has high purity and no impurities. 50 yuan? It's a bargain for you. I want it all." The transaction went smoothly. Liu Feng had an extra 500 yuan in his pocket, and he had touched the prototype of the first pot of gold. He didn't stop, and then sold it to two individual customers. One was a skinny monkey-like guy who said he was a casual cultivator from a small family. The other was a woman wearing sunglasses. Her voice was hoarse. "Little brother, where did this elixir come from? I have never seen such a stable one on the black market. Our own small workshop guarantees genuine products." Liu Feng lowered his voice and smiled modestly. When he returned to the warehouse at night, he counted the money, his heart beating fast with excitement. 500 yuan is not much, but it is pure profit. If converted into resources, it can snowball. Modern business thinking allowed him to see the blue ocean. Unlike traditional medicines, elixirs rely on aura, are low cost and have high demand. He had to build a supply chain and acquire spiritual energy resources. It was mentioned in the jade slips that there were spiritual mineral veins on the outskirts of the city, and hermits would dig spiritual stones to replenish them. Just as I was thinking about it, my phone rang and it was an unknown number. Liu Feng picked up the answer, and a low voice came from the other end. "Boy, is this Liu Feng? I'm Zishuan, we were talking at the tea house that time. Your qi-nourishing pill spreads quickly. Come to me and talk about the basics of dual cultivation. Don't rush to sell. The foundation is unstable and can easily go wrong." Liu Feng was stunned. Zishuan's address was an old tea house in the east of the city. When he rushed over, it was already dark, the lights in the tea house were dim, and the fragrance of tea was lingering like mist. Zishuan sat in the corner, with a pot of tea guanyin in front of him, steam curling up. "Sit down." Zishuan pushed the cup, his eyes were deep. "There is a big buzz in the black market, and that boy Wang Lei has sent people to inquire about you. Have you heard of the dual cultivation method, the thing in your jade slip, right? You can't just find someone to practice it. You have to have complementary auras, otherwise it will backfire, and you will become possessed at worst, and your body will explode at worst." Liu Feng picked up the tea, and the heat was hot on his hands. He nodded. "I've heard of it, but I haven't thought about it in detail. Let's stabilize the production first, and then talk about partners." He was a little hesitant in his heart. This technique sounds mysterious. What if he finds the wrong person? Zishuan smiled, and his tone was like that of an old jianghu. "You have to practice the basics. Dual cultivation is not that kind of thing, it is the blending of spiritual energy, like Tai Chi pushing hands, one yin and one yang. Come, circulate your spiritual energy, and I will guide you." He stretched out his palm, Liu Feng met it, and a ray of cool spiritual energy came, as gentle as river water. Liu Feng felt that his meridians were expanding, and the secret to dual cultivation suddenly became clear to him. Only when the mind is connected and the partner's bloodline is pure can he get twice the result with half the effort. Zishuan stopped his hand and warned, "First find resources to stabilize the foundation. There is a spiritual spring on the outskirts of the city, guarded by hermits. You use money to purchase spiritual stones, don't rob them forcefully. A business empire starts with the supply chain." Liu Feng listened intently, and the hesitation in his heart faded away. He is not a natural cultivator, but he has the brains and the jade slips. This is his path. After leaving the tea house, he went straight to the internet to search for spiritual energy resources, contacted several black market informants, and made an appointment to purchase a small batch of spiritual stones the next day. At night, he refined another 20 qi-nourishing pills. The lights in the warehouse were on until late at night, and the smell of sweat and medicine made him feel that the small workshop was like a battlefield, full of possibilities. At noon the next day, Liu Feng was waiting for his informant at a cafe next to the market. As soon as he sat down, his cell phone rang again. "Hey, Is this Liu Feng who sells qi-nourishing pills? I'm Pinxian. I heard about your pills from Ahu. The female voice was clear and clear, like wind chimes. Liu Feng was startled. Yes, I am. What? Let's meet. I'm slightly injured. Your elixir is very effective. I want to buy a few pills. Pinchuan's tone was urgent. Liu Feng made an appointment at a nearby park. The afternoon sun shone on the willow trees by the lake. The wind blew and the willow branches rustled. When he arrived, a woman wearing an office suit was already waiting there. She was tall, with long hair shawl length, and a delicate but pale face, like a dewy jasmine. Hello, Liu Feng? Pinxian stretched out her hand, her palms slightly cold. Liu Feng held it and felt a faint spiritual energy fluctuation in her body, which was not obvious but pure. Yes, you are. A white-collar worker in the city, working in a financial company. Pinxian smiled and sat down on the hard park bench. She rubbed her temples. I fell down while working overtime a few days ago. Ordinary medicine didn't work. Ahu recommended your qi-nourishing pill. I tried one and the wound healed overnight. It's amazing. How did you do this? Liu Feng's heart moved. This woman was not simple. Ordinary people would never associate her with spiritual energy. Little secret recipe, don't tell anyone else. He handed over a box, 5 pills, 205. Pinxian took it and her eyes lit up. Thank you. Speaking of which, I heard Ahu say that you are a newcomer. The black market is deep, and Wang Lei is keeping an eye on it. His family is an old cultivator family that specializes in resource monopoly. In the city, the cultivator circle is divided into several factions. Some are hidden in the upper echelons of the company, and some open magical pharmacies. Your elixir is highly effective and will attract attention. Liu Feng was stunned. How did she know this? You too. Pinxian lowered her head and spoke softly. There is some blood in my family, but I haven't awakened yet, but I can feel the spiritual energy. My parents are older generation casual cultivators and have taught me a little bit. This circle is glamorous on the surface, but secretly competes for resources. Wang Lei robbed a small family's elixir recipe last time and directly destroyed their line. Be careful, and if you need it, come to me. I'm in the financial circle, so it's not difficult to help you acquire resources. The two chatted, and Pinxian shared information. There were several supply points of spiritual stones in the black market, and the Wang family controlled most of them, but there were loopholes for retail investors. Liu Feng's heart surged as he listened. He was still hesitant at first. Would this road be feasible? But Pinchuan's words reflected his ambition like a mirror. He is not alone, there are allies and opportunities in this world. From being an office worker to this point, he has changed and no longer flinches. Thank you, Pinxian. Have you enjoyed your cooperation? She nodded and smiled, happy. Your elixir saved my life. I owe you a favor. At night, black market trading peaks. Liu Feng brought 30 qi-nourishing pills. There were many people in the bar, and the air was sultry, mixed with whispers and the sound of clinking wine glasses. Ahu brought a few buyers with him, and it was busy. Ahu said loudly, "Have you tried this kid's elixir?" Suddenly, 3 strong men burst into the door. The leader had tattoos all over his arms and fierce eyes. Who sells qi-nourishing pills? Mr. Wang has nothing to say, this stuff belongs to him. Liu Feng's heart sank, he belongs to Wang Lei. The atmosphere in the bar was tense, and someone whispered, trouble. The strong man approached and grabbed Liu Feng's bag. Boy, hand it over, so you don't get beaten. Liu Feng stood up, with a little luck, and his palms became warm. Brother, business is business, don't make trouble. Are you making trouble? The Wang family said we want your secret recipe. The strong man waved his fist and the wind roared. Liu Feng dodged and his mind quickly changed. Fighting is not enough, reputation is more important. He took out a qi-nourishing pill from his pocket and threw it over. Try this, it will heal your wounds and replenish your qi. If it breaks, everyone will lose. The strong man caught it and swallowed it suspiciously. As the spiritual energy entered his body, his eyes widened. Damn, this wound doesn't hurt anymore. He touched the old wound, and it really felt soothing. The two followers next to him also joined in, and Liu Feng threw 2 more pills. Young Master Wang, you want goods? Tell him, Liu Feng's elixirs are welcome to discuss business. But to rob? There is no way. Whispers erupted in the bar, and someone applauded. You've got the talent. The strong man was embarrassed and backed away angrily. Okay, I'll count on you to be ruthless this time. Next time I see Mr. Wang, I'll talk to myself. After they left, Ahu patted Liu Feng on the shoulder. Awesome. Now the black market knows about you, your reputation is far and wide. Liu Feng breathed a sigh of relief, but his heart became firmer. Crisis is resolved not with fists, but with elixirs and brains. That night, he sold out all the goods and had thousands of dollars in his pocket. The night wind blew into the door of the bar, bringing the moisture from the riverside. He felt that the foundation of the empire was taking root little by little. Pinshuan's call came again. Heard about the black market? Congratulations, deepening cooperation? Liu Feng held his cell phone in his hand. The night breeze at the door of the bar still carried the salty smell of the river, causing the collar of his shirt to turn up slightly. Pinshuan's voice came from the receiver, with a smile. Have you heard about the black market? Congratulations, the cooperation has deepened. He leaned against the wall, with the small incident just now echoing in his mind. He felt hot in his heart and couldn't help grinning. Yes, thank you for your concern. Those guys are gone, and my goods are sold out. Next, I have to do it more seriously. I am short of manpower for the resource acquisition you mentioned. There was a pause on the other end of the phone, and Pinshuan's breathing became lighter. Then, can I help? I'm familiar with the financial world. I can register a company or do promotions. Let's meet up tomorrow. Sure, it's settled. Liu Feng hung up the phone, with a bulging wallet in his pocket. He drove back to the warehouse, with the streetlights lengthening his shadows all the way, as if they were mocking his former 9-to-5 job. As soon as the warehouse door was opened, the electric stove inside was still warm, and the aroma of medicine remained, mixed with the smell of engine oil. He sat down at the small table and searched online for the company registration process. His mind raced. Selling goods on the black market is temporary and requires legal cover. It pretends to be a healthcare product company and sells qi-nourishing capsules. No one can fault it. Early the next morning, Liu Feng went straight to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau. The sunlight shone on the glass building and was reflected dazzlingly. He filled out the form and paid the fee, thinking about the name of the company in his head, Fengxian Health Products Company, Limited, borrowing Xian from Pinxian, which sounded pleasant to his ears. The clerk looked at him and said, Young man, health products? The market is busy now, so be careful not to touch the red line. Liu Feng smiled and said, Don't worry, it's a serious product, for replenishing energy and health. He came out at noon, holding the business license in his hand. The red book was heavy. There was a strange feeling in his heart. The passive life of an office worker in the past was like peeling off a layer of skin. Now he was holding the rudder, and his ambitions were growing like wild weeds. This is no child's play, it is the beginning of an empire. In the afternoon, we made an appointment at a cafe in the city center. Pinxian arrived early, wearing a light blue shirt, her hair tied into a ponytail, and 2 steaming cups of latte on the table. She pushed a cup. Congratulations, boss, I heard that the company has been registered. Fengxian Healthcare, you sound professional. Liu Feng sat down, the leather of the chair was soft, and he stirred the coffee, the bitter taste dissipating on the tip of his tongue. Thank you for reminding me. The black market is temporarily stable, but it needs to expand and have a good reputation. How about you being an assistant? Marketing, resource procurement, your way in the financial circle will come in handy. Pinshuan's eyes lit up, and she came closer. The perfume smelled light, like jasmine dew. Okay, I quit my old job and just changed my career. Your elixir, no, qi-nourishing capsule, it works really well. I tried the second one last night, and I felt energetic for half a night. I'm here to promote it. I can do it both online e-commerce and offline pharmacies. Where are the resources? As for the spiritual stone, the informant left by my parents can collect some bulk goods at a low price. The two had a lively chat, and Liu Feng felt warm in his heart when he saw her serious look. This woman is not only beautiful, but also smart. She goes from stranger to companion, so naturally. He handed over a piece of paper with a hastily drawn supply chain diagram on it. You are responsible for purchasing the raw materials such as astragalus and Ganoderma lucidum, and I am in charge of production. The salary will be divided according to the profit first, which is fair. Pinxian took it and scratched the paper with her pen tip. Deal. Liu Feng, you have changed. From the new person who said, you are now like a leader. You use elixir to resolve the black market matter, handsome. Liu Feng's heart skipped a beat, and his inner monologue flashed through. Yes, I used to just work overtime and bury my head in the water, but now I have to lead people and shoulder tasks. It feels like flying out of a cage. The wings are still growing, but they can already flap. He smiled. We'll see. Come to the warehouse tonight and help me take a look at the packaging design. Over the next few days, the warehouse was bustling with activity. Liu Feng was not idle, and the intermediate pill recipe in the Jade Slip Foundation Establishment pill came to his mind. This thing can stabilize the foundation and rush into the foundation building period, and its effect is 10 times more powerful than chi-nourishing pills. But the cost is high and it needs the help of spiritual stones. He sat cross-legged, his spiritual energy flowing like a stream, sweat dripping down his forehead, making his skin red with heat. The electric stove was buzzing, medicinal herbs were tumbling inside, and the air was filled with the crisp smell of burnt incense and spiritual energy, like wild fruits in the mountain stream. He gritted his teeth and injected spiritual energy, pressed his palm on the stove lid, and felt that his meridians were being pulled, painful and quick. A few hours later, the first foundation establishment pill was released. The blue light flashed, and it felt cool in the hand. The spiritual energy penetrated directly into the dantian. When he swallowed it, his whole body was on fire, his meridians expanded, spiritual energy poured in like a tide, and the threshold of the early stage of foundation building suddenly opened. Liu Feng gasped and stood up, clenching his fists. The air shook slightly. The little aura of casual cultivation that he once had was now like a rushing river. When he looked at himself in the mirror, there was a sharpness in his eyes. Growing up, from immortal to building a foundation, this step is a real one. Zixuan's call came in time. Boy, you've built a foundation? How do you feel? Come to my tea house. The alchemy furnace needs to be upgraded. Wang Lei is keeping a close eye on the news about the black market. Liu Feng rushed over. There was still the fog of Tiguanyin in the tea house. Zixuan handed over an old booklet. Have you stabilized the foundation of dual cultivation? The electric stove is too rough. Adding the spiritual formation can save 30% of the spiritual energy. He pointed out and the two dismantled the electric stove. Zixuan pressed his palm on it, and the spiritual energy was like a silk thread weaving a net. The furnace body buzzed, and faint runes floated on the surface. Try it. Liu Feng injected spiritual energy, the stove heated up faster, and the aroma of the medicine became much stronger. Master, thank you. Now we can double our production. Zixuan patted him on the shoulder. What do you call master? Allies. When recruiting casual cultivators, be cautious. Wang Lei will send someone to test it out sooner or later. Liu Feng nodded, feeling a sense of responsibility as a leader in his heart. I used to carry it alone, but now I have to lead the team and protect them. This empire is not mine alone, it is everyone's path. Pinxian recruited the first batch of employees, 3 casual cultivators, who were poached from black market forums, a strong young man named Shaoli, who was responsible for packaging, an ant-level sister Wang, who knew how to order spiritual energy and medicine, and a tall and thin Lao Zhang, who was responsible for logistics. They gathered in the warehouse. The smell of medicine was strong in the air. Liu Feng stood in the middle and said in a steady voice, "Welcome to Fengxian Healthcare. We are not part-time workers, we are partners. Dan. When the capsules are sold, everyone will share the dividends. Product procurement is in charge of resource procurement. I will handle the production. Start with small batches and work steadily." Shaoli wiped his sweat and said, "Boss, I heard that you were able to neutralize the Wang family members in the black market. You are awesome. We are committed to you." Pinxian passed the water to the side, her eyes shining, and she leaned close to Liu Feng and whispered, "The team has just formed, and you are becoming more and more interesting as a leader." Liu Feng felt warm in his heart. Their eyes met, and there was a hint of ambiguity in the air, like the spring breeze blowing through the willows. He took her hand and squeezed it gently. "With you, I can get twice the result with half the effort." As soon as the recruitment was stable, Wang Lei's test came. A young man in a neat suit knocked on the warehouse door with a fake smile. "Mr. Liu? I am a salesperson from Wang's Resources. I heard that your health products are good and I want to cooperate in the supply chain. Can you see the production line?" Liu Feng knew full well that this was a secret. He led people in, the stove was buzzing, and Pinxian was handing tea beside him. "Mr. Wang, sit down. Cooperation is easy to talk about, but the secret recipe is the core. We can talk after signing the confidentiality agreement." The young man's eyes wandered as he tried to get closer to the stove. Liu Feng had little luck with his spiritual energy, and under the invisible net of the pressure of the foundation stage, the young man turned pale and sweated on his forehead. "Mr. Liu, this tea smells really good." Liu Feng smiled and handed over a box of samples. "Try our qi-nourishing capsules to replenish qi." Cooperation? Welcome, but secrets? Wang Lei, not enough lessons? The young man stood up in embarrassment. "Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. I'm leaving." As soon as the door was closed, Pinxian clapped her hands. "Handsome. Smarter than fists." Liu Feng breathed a sigh of relief and said in his heart, "From being an ordinary person to this point, I have learned to take the lead and take precautions. This leader's position is secure." In the evening, the cell phone rang, and it was Hu's informant. "Brother Liu, big order. A small family on the black market wants 500 qi-nourishing pills, half the price in advance. Your goods are trustworthy." Liu Feng looked at the busy team in the warehouse. Pinxian was sorting documents beside him, and Zixuan's stove was steaming. He nodded. "Take it. Empire, start from this point." As night fell, the warehouse lights lit up, like a sailing ship, carrying ambition and sailing towards the unknown ocean. The lights in the warehouse are like sparks, reflecting the busy figures. Shaoli and Lao Zhang were packing the last batch of qi-nourishing capsules. The sound of rubbing cartons mixed with the aroma of medicine filled the air. Liu Feng hung up the phone and turned around to see Pinxian leaning against the shelf, her ponytail swaying slightly. Her eyes were shining with excitement. 500? Liu Feng, as soon as this order is received, the inventory will be doubled and production will be doubled. The company has just started and is making such a big move. Aren't you afraid that Wang Lei will come to disrupt the situation again? Liu Feng walked over, patted her shoulder, and felt the warmth of her shirt in his palm. Spoiler? Let them do it. Now that I have the confidence of the foundation building period, and your team, I can handle anything. He added in a low voice, "Working overtime tonight? The order is urgent, help me keep an eye on the production, and I will try the dual cultivation method in the jade slip." Zixuan said, "This thing can make the auras complement each other, let's try it." Pinchuan's cheeks turned slightly red, but she didn't flinch. She bit her lip and said in a brisk voice, "Okay, anyway, my bloodline has awakened a little bit, single cultivation always feels stuck. Dual cultivation, sounds like the fairy couple in the old legend, but the modern version, we have to be careful." The two looked at each other, and there was a hint of ambiguous tension in the air, like the sultry wind on a summer night. Liu Feng felt hot in his heart, and flashed in his mind, "In the past, I was afraid of even confessing, but now I am leading her, it feels like I have found the other half of a puzzle." It was late at night, the river wind was howling outside the warehouse, and they were the only two people left inside. Liu Feng turned off the headlights, leaving only a small table lamp, and the orange glow shone on the futon. He sat down cross-legged. Pin Xian hesitated for a moment and sat opposite him, her skirt gently spread out. The technique of jade slips comes to mind, the blending of spiritual energy, the complementation of yin and yang, and the need for mind-to-mind communication. He stretched out his hand and held her palm. The moment the skin touched, it was like an electric current flowing through him. Relax, circulate your blood and spiritual energy, and synchronize with me. Don't be nervous, just treat it like an upgraded version of massage. Pin Xian chuckled, her voice a little playful. Massage? Liu Feng, your metaphor is grounding. Come on. She closed her eyes, the immortal blood hidden in her body surged like a stream, and a faint spiritual light overflowed from her fingertips. Liu Feng injected the spiritual energy from the initial stage of foundation building, and the two forces collided, sparks flying out. He felt that her aura was as soft as water, complementing his masculine strength, and the blockage in his meridians was instantly released. Pin Xian hummed, it's so comfortable, like soaking in a hot spring, the spiritual energy is flowing and it's hot. Time is like a stretched thread, spiritual energy circulates between the two. Liu Feng's dantian is like a volcano erupting, the bottleneck in the early stage of foundation building shatters, and the spiritual pressure in the middle stage is like a tide. He opened his eyes and saw Pin Xian's face flushed, and there was a hint of attachment in his eyes. Liu Feng, my cultivation level has increased. From casual cultivator to the edge of foundation building, these two cultivations are too fierce. She came closer, touched his forehead lightly, and breathed together, thank you, give me a hand. From now on, I am not an assistant, but a partner, your other half. Warmth surged in Liu Feng's heart, and he hugged her, saying in a low voice, well, let's cultivate together and build an empire together. At this moment, emotions bonded like spiritual energy, and he grew from a casual cultivator working alone to a leader with a partner. After the double cultivation, the two stood up. The air in the warehouse was much fresher, like the forest after the rain. They looked at each other and smiled, and Pin Xian blinked. Now, let's get down to business. To expand the company, we need to acquire the supply chain. My parents' informants can negotiate with the retail traders of spiritual grass in the black market, and get polygonatum and ginseng at low prices. Developing a new line? Foundation Establishment Pill is disguised as a vitality capsule, targeting high-end customers. Early the next morning, the sun pierced the curtains, and Liu Feng drove Pin Xian to the Lingqiao market in the suburbs. A light pop song was playing in the car. Pin Xian hummed and held a supply chain list in her hand. The target is 3 small suppliers. Wang Lei monopolizes the majority, but they have a secret plantation. The price is 50% in cash, and the rest is in installments. Liu Feng nodded, and his hand on the steering wheel was steady. Sure, you negotiate, and I will replenish the spiritual energy. After the acquisition, the production line was upgraded, and a new elixir body tempering pill specializes in treating blocked meridians, leaving a huge market gap. The market was bustling with people, the stalls were piled with spiritual herbs, and the smell of earth and grass was overwhelming. Pin Xian took the lead and found the first boss, a middle-aged man with a beard. Uncle Wang, I am Pin Xian, Liu Feng's partner. I heard that your Ganoderma cultivation is stable. Do you want to cooperate? Our company is expanding and we will buy all your production at a fair price. The boss squinted at Liu Feng and said, Xiao Lu? You are the elixir on the black market? Wang Lei has lowered the price, and we can't hold it anymore. But what about the secret recipe? Cooperation requires mutual benefit. Liu Feng stepped forward, with a slight movement of spiritual energy and a slight tremor in the air. Uncle Wang, the secret recipe will not be disclosed to anyone, but we will give you a sample of the Foundation Establishment Pill and change the supply chain. Long-term order, guaranteed profit. The boss tried the pill, and his eyes lit up. It works. It works. Hand it over. Then the two parties reached an agreement. In the afternoon, they came out holding the 3 contracts. Pin Xian hugged Liu Feng's arm excitedly. the expansion is stable, the new pill line is started, and the first batch of body-tempering pills will be released tomorrow. On the way back to the warehouse, Zixuan's call came. Boy, have you tried dual cultivation? How do you feel? Come to the tea house and I will officially join you. The dual cultivation team must establish rules to avoid civil strife. Liu Feng smiled. Master, Zixuan, welcome. Come in the evening and give guidance. In the tea house, Tai Guanyin the mist filled the air. Zixuan sat cross-legged and handed over a yellowed book. Double cultivation is not about randomness, it requires spiritual harmony. Pinshuan's blood is feminine, and you are masculine, which is just right. To build a team, first recruit 2 female casual cultivators to complement each other. Remember, trust comes first. Wang Lei, keep an eye on it. At night, the warehouse comes alive. Shaoli and the others worked overtime to pack new goods, and Zixuan instructed Liu Feng to carve the spirit array on the body-tempering elixir furnace. The runes appeared like swimming dragons, and the furnace body buzzed louder. Pinxian handed the tea. Uncle Zixuan, if you join us, the empire will be stable. I will be responsible for screening people for the dual cultivator team, so I will be stable. Zixuan nodded. Okay, Xiao Lu, you have grown quickly from casual cultivator to leader. But remember, in a business empire, cultivating immortals is the root. To guard against Wang Lei, developing elixirs is the way to go. As soon as he finished speaking, Ahu's message popped up. Brother Liu, the black market is in chaos. The Wang Lei family has lowered prices, dumped low-efficiency pills, and snatched away your customers. The small family's order has been shaken. Liu Feng frowned and said in his heart, the pressure is coming, we have to fight back. I used to panic, but now I have to use my brain to win. He summoned the team. Wang Lei is playing dirty tricks, we use the goods to be tough. Samples of the body-tempering pill are sent to the black market for free for trial use. It is efficient and customers will choose it themselves. The next day, at the entrance to the black market, neon lights were flashing, the crowd was crowded, and the air was mixed with the pungent smell of smoke and spiritual energy. Liu Feng took Pinxian and Zixuan to set up a stall. There were capsules disguised as body-tempering pills on the table. Wang Lei's men were selling them next to him. Wang's foundation building pill, solid foundation, half price. A representative of a small family came over and hesitated. Mr. Liu, for your order of 500 pills, we heard from Wang Lei that the goods are not pure. Liu Feng smiled and handed over a body-tempering pill. Try it. Don't blow it. The meridians will be unblocked and the cultivation level will increase by 30%. Wang Lei's inefficient product, a waste of spiritual stones. The representative swallowed it, and his eyes suddenly widened. The spiritual energy is like the river is open. Mr. Liu, let's place an order for 1,000 more. Customers around him came up and started talking about it after trying it out. Wang Lei's looks like a fake, this is the real thing. Wang Lei's men turned pale and walked away angrily. Liu Feng looked at the accumulation of orders and felt reassured. The counterattack was won, and the first batch of loyal customers were obtained. This empire speaks with strength. In the evening, when he returned to the warehouse, Liu Feng sat cross-legged alone, and the jade slips came to mind. After double cultivation, hidden clues emerged. A vague map marked the source of spiritual veins, and the conspiracy behind it loomed ancient inheritance, involving old accounts of the cultivating family. His heart sank, and he said to himself, the jade slips are not simple. Maybe this is what Wang Lei is eyeing. From an impulsive kid to a business leader, I have to dig deep and protect my team. The company's accounts were flooded with orders, and its market value quietly doubled. Pinxian came closer and whispered, Liu Feng, the empire has taken off. What's next? He held her hand, and the night breeze blew through the window, bringing the coolness of the river. Expand, build a dual cultivation team. Let's go together. Under the light, the shadows lengthened, like the flag of the empire, fluttering in the wind. The night outside the window was like ink, and the river wind blew into the warehouse with a moist and salty smell. Liu Feng let go of Pinshuan's hand and turned to look at the mountains of order papers. the elongated shadow of the light stretches quietly like the tentacles of an empire. He took a deep breath, the scent of the medicine still lingered on the tip of his nose. Next step, the spirit-gathering pill. The formula in the jade slip is specially tailored for immortal cultivators. It can gather scattered spiritual energy and speed up foundation building. There are many casual cultivators in the black market who are stuck in the bottleneck. Once this pill is released, the team will grow stronger. Pinxian nodded, her eyes sparkling, and her hands were still slightly hot. After starting dual cultivation, the blood in her body was like an awakened spring, and the spiritual energy flowed much smoother. I will keep an eye on the operation. In my parents' circle, there are several female cultivators with soft blood. It's just right for the dual cultivation team. After the production line was upgraded, the first batch of spirit-gathering pills were sold on the high-end black market. She came closer and said in a soft and playful voice, "Liu Feng, you can make pills and I'll cooperate with you." Early the next morning, the sun shone into the warehouse, and Zishuan arrived early, holding a basket of fresh spiritual fruits in his hand, with dewdrops rolling on the peel like crystal spiritual stones. He sat down cross-legged and handed Liu Feng a handwritten note. "Boy, I have changed the formula of the spirit-gathering pill, adding spirit vein grass, which makes it more stable. Dual cultivation team, remember that trust is the foundation." After Pinshuan's bloodline awakens, her perception has become stronger and she can detect the veins of spirit mines. You guys can try joint exploration. Liu Feng took the note, and with a slight movement of spiritual energy, the jade slip appeared in his mind, and the formula flowed like mercury. He stood up and walked towards the alchemy furnace. The furnace was buzzing and the runes were coiled like a dragon. Shaoli and the others gathered around. The air was filled with the heat of the charcoal fire and the bitterness of the herbs. "Mr. Liu, this new pill? It makes you energetic when you smell it." Liu Feng smiled. The spirit-gathering pill is specially designed to treat scattered spiritual energy. Working overtime, the first batch of 50 pills will be released tonight. Pinxian was directing from the side with a clear voice. "Old Zhang, you are in charge of the packaging. Shaoli, contact the black market stall. Uncle Zishuan, carve a formation to protect the furnace." She approached the alchemy furnace and lightly pressed the wall of the furnace with her palm. The spiritual energy after the awakening of the bloodline penetrated like a thread, and the temperature of the furnace suddenly became much more stable. Zishuan's eyes lit up. "Girl, your bloodline is wide open and your perception is like a net. This ability can be used in acquisitions without any disadvantages." Pinxian blinked. "That's right, after dual cultivation, I feel like I have been upgraded. Liu Feng's spiritual energy has made my meridians transparent. Now when negotiating, once the spiritual pressure is released, the other party will be soft." In the afternoon, the pill is completed. The spirit-gathering pill was as round as a bead, with faint spiritual light on the surface. After swallowing one test pill, Liu Feng felt that his dantian was like a whirlpool, and the spiritual energy scattered in his body instantly gathered together, and his cultivation level was faintly loosened. He patted Zishuan on the shoulder. "Master-level guidance, done. Black market promotion at night to attract casual cultivators." Zishuan frowned slightly, tapped the teacup on the table, and said in a low voice, "Don't worry yet. I have dug up the conspiracy of the Wang Lei family. They monopolized the spiritual mines in the eastern suburbs, suppressed the supply of casual cultivators, and doubled the price of spiritual grass. The low-efficiency pills on the black market are their bait. They want to cut off your escape and steal the jade slip inheritance." Liu Feng's heart sank, the air seemed to freeze, and the heat wave of the charcoal fire suddenly became biting. He turned to look at Pinxian. Her blood sense had already detected clues. "Uncle Zishuan is right, my father's information, the Wang Jialing mine is hidden under the abandoned factory, and the spiritual veins are pure. Liu Feng, counter-acquisition. Use business skills to seize it." Liu Feng nodded, and a wave of emotion flashed in his heart. Power is like a double-edged sword. Wang Lei cannot be allowed to cut off his roots. That night, the black market was brightly lit, the crowds were huge, and the neon lights reflected the sweat on their faces. In front of Liu Feng's stall, there was a magic pill disguised as a capsule, with a faint aroma wafting out. Two female cultivators came up, one with long flowing hair, the other with short and capable hair, with tired eyes. "Mr. Liu, I heard that your elixir is powerful. We are stuck at the peak of qi refining, and the spiritual energy is always dissipated." Liu Feng handed over the sample. "Try it. The spirit-gathering pill is like a river, and one pill lasts 3 months of hard work." They swallowed it, and their faces suddenly flushed, and the spiritual light overflowed from their bodies. The meridians are alive, and the bottleneck is loose. "Mr. Liu, we can join the team, as long as we are stable." Pin Xian was taking down the roster next to her, her voice gentle but firm. "Welcome, sisters. The rules of the Empire are trust first, spiritual energy complement each other. Learn operations from me. After your bloodline is awakened, your abilities will explode." The casual cultivators nodded, and there was a touch of warmth in the air, like a brazier in winter. The orders were filled instantly. Liu Feng looked at the crowd and felt at ease. From a lone wolf to a leader, this growth is built on the foundation of a team. On the way back to the warehouse, Zixuan planned in a low voice in the car, "Anti-takeover, Wangjiling mine. It's an abandoned factory on the surface, but the spiritual veins inside are like dragons. Pin Xian senses the path. You negotiate with spiritual pressure, and I'll block it immediately." Liu Feng's hand on the steering wheel tightened. "Okay. Action tomorrow morning. Use the company in the name of purchasing the factory. The Wang family will not let it go easily." Pin Xian came forward from the back seat, her bloodline aura filling the air like a mist. "My parents' informants have contacted me, and there is a rift within the Wang family. The young master Wang Lei is very ambitious, and the old man in the family can do it if he is not satisfied." The next day, the abandoned factory in the eastern suburbs was filled with dust and the smell of rust mixed with the dampness of the soil. Liu Feng led the team in. The manager of the Wang family, a bald old man, squinted his eyes and looked at it. "Feng Xian Company? Acquisition of this broken factory? Spiritual mine? What a joke, Wang family territory." Pin Xian stepped forward, and her senses after the awakening of her bloodline were like invisible nets, penetrating into the ground, and her spiritual veins pulsed clearly. "Uncle Wang, don't pretend. The purity of the spiritual ore is high. We will pay double the market price, but we must have full authority. Otherwise, the black market will be exposed, your family will monopolize it, and the casual cultivators will make trouble." The old man's face changed, Liu Feng's spiritual pressure slightly released, and the air trembled like before a storm. "Cooperation, mutual benefit. Sample of the spirit-gathering pill, in exchange for your information. Wang Lei is eyeing my jade slip. Tell him, don't touch it." The old man hesitated, swallowed the pill, and his eyes lit up. "Okay. Deal." But Wang Lei won't let it go. The contract was signed, the team settled in, Zixuan carved the formation, the spiritual minerals gushed out like springs, crystal spiritual stones accumulated, and the tentacles were cold and electrified. Liu Feng watched with satisfaction in his heart. The temptation of power is there, but this is won by the team. In the past, I would keep it all to myself, but now, I have to share it so that everyone can be strong. When the news spread, Wang Lei became angry. At dusk, on the edge of the black market, there was a ruins. Wang Lei led his men to block Liu Feng. The spiritual pressure in the air was like a mountain. His face was livid and his voice was gloomy. "Liu Feng, the spiritual mine is mine. The jade slip is inherited. Hand it over and I will spare your life." Liu Feng sneered. The spiritual energy in the middle stage of foundation building was flowing, and the heat was rolling in his dantian. "Master Wang, come to the front. Have you eaten the spirit-gathering pill? Try it." He swallowed a self-made auxiliary pill, and the spiritual energy exploded like fire, and his meridians expanded, and his strength skyrocketed. Wang Lei pounced on him, the wind of his fist roaring, carrying the family's secret technique, and the ground cracked like a spider web. Liu Feng dodged sideways, counterattacked with spiritual pressure, and the air exploded. Pin Xian was assisting, and the bloodline threads wrapped around Wang Lei's men. Zixuan's formation flashed, blocking the retreat. Wang Lei slapped him with a palm, and Liu Feng took it hard. The auxiliary pill made his spiritual energy circulate like a wheel, shaking the opponent away. His fist hit Wang Lei's shoulder, and the sound of bone cracking was heard. Wang Lei backed away angrily and vomited blood. "This pill, you won this time. But I will tear down the empire." He led his men to escape in panic. The ruins raised dust, and the sunset lengthened the shadows. Liu Feng gasped and had a brief inner monologue. "It's just a small victory, and the power game has just begun. The trust of the team keeps me steady." He turned around and hugged Pinxian. "Thank you, friends. With the spirit mine in hand, the empire will speed up." Zixuan nodded. "The next step is to build a training base. If casual cultivators join, they will be taught the rules of dual cultivation and the spirit-gathering pill will be popularized." A few days later, an old manor in the suburbs was renovated. The spiritual array in the base flickered and the air was as fresh as a mountain forest. Liu Feng stood at the door, watching the newly joined casual cultivators sitting cross-legged, Pinxian handing out spirit-gathering pills. "Welcome, the first lesson, trust and complementarity." He felt warm in his heart. The empire was over half, growing like spiritual veins, endless. The night wind blows, the base is brightly lit, and there is still a long way to go. The lights of the base flickered, reflecting the stone pavement in the manor, and the air was filled with the sweet aroma of spiritual fruits and the moist smell of earth. Liu Feng leaned against the door frame and watched Pinxian lead the two new female casual cultivators into the hall. One of them is called Lin Wei, with long hair like a waterfall, and the aura in the early stage of foundation building is hidden in his eyes. The other is Xiao Qing, with short and neat hair, and the smell of dust from black market fireworks. Pinxian put her hand lightly on Lin Wei's shoulder, and her voice was as warm as the spring breeze. "Sisters, this is not a noisy place like the black market. The dual cultivation team pays attention to complementarity and trust. Try the spirit-gathering pill first to feel the flow of spiritual energy, and then I will teach you how to match Liu Feng's techniques." Lin Wei swallowed the pill, her cheeks flushed slightly, and the spiritual energy poured into her meridians like a drizzle. She took a deep breath, and her eyes lit up. "Sister Pin, this pill is almost alive. I used to practice hard by myself, and the spiritual energy was always like a leaky house. Now it is stable. Join you. Guys, can I help you find the spirit grass?" Xiao Qing also nodded and rubbed his temples. "I'm good at assisting with the black market. I heard that Mr. Liu's empire is going to be launched. Can we participate in the operation?" Liu Feng walked in and smiled, and the aura in the air seemed to tremble with his footsteps. "Of course. The empire is not mine alone. From the small workshop to the present, it depends on everyone's complementarity. Lin Wei and Xiao Qing, welcome. Let's have a small meeting in the evening to talk about the rules of dual cultivation." He turned to wink at Pinxian. She winked, leaned closer and whispered, "These two sisters, with feminine blood, just complement your masculine aura. The team has grown, the cohesion is strong, and I feel like the empire is like home." It was late at night, in the quiet room of the manor. Liu Feng sat down cross-legged. The jade slips came to mind, and the runes shone like stars. He took a deep breath, his spiritual energy circulated in his dantian, and he had a brief inner monologue. The spirit-gathering pill is the starting point, now he has to develop his own. The efficiency of the dual cultivation team is low, and there is always loss of spiritual energy when they complement each other. It is necessary to refine a combined spirit pill to lock the spiritual flow during dual cultivation and accelerate cultivation. He tapped the jade slip with his finger, and a new formula emerged: spirit vein grass with yin-yang fruit, supplemented by team blood essence. Early the next morning, the alchemy furnace was buzzing. The heat waves of the charcoal fire licked the furnace wall, and the bitter taste of herbs mixed with the fruity aroma filled the air. Zixuan stood guard beside him, the teacup in his hand was steaming. "Boy, this formula of combined spiritual elixir was dug from the depths of the jade slips. It is exclusive to dual cultivators." "It sounds cruel. Remember, the team's spiritual energy must be injected during refining, otherwise it will be unstable." Liu Feng nodded. sweat beads sliding down his forehead, spiritual energy pulling the medicinal materials like silk threads, and the furnace rolling like a sea of clouds. Pinqian came in with Lin Wei and Zhao Qing. They held hands, and the blood aura formed a network. Liu Feng, let's assist. We can sense the properties of the medicine and use the formation to stabilize the temperature of the furnace. Lin Wei pressed her palm against the furnace wall, and the water's spirit blood flowed in like a cool spring, and the restlessness of the medicinal materials subsided. Zhao Qing hummed the formation talisman, and blue light flashed in the air, locking the spiritual energy from leaking out. Liu Feng felt the team's spiritual energy coming in like a tide. The moment the elixir was completed, 3 combined elixirs rolled down into his palms. The yin and yang pattern loomed on the surface, and his tentacles were as warm as jade. It's done! He handed one to Pinqian, and she swallowed it, her eyes flashing with inspiration. Wow, it feels like a locked door, but the spiritual energy is not leaking out during dual cultivation. Sisters, try it in a small circle, with the 4 of us practicing first. That night, the candlelight flickered in the quiet room, and the aura in the air was as thick as mist. Liu Feng and Pinqian first practiced dual cultivation, and combined the spiritual elixir into their bodies. Their spiritual energy complemented each other like rivers flowing into the sea, and their cultivation was faintly loose. Lin Wei and Zhao Qing were assisting, their bloodlines were connected, and the team's spiritual flow circulated like a wheel. After it was over, Lin Wei gasped and smiled. Mr. Liu, the efficiency of this circle has doubled. In the past, dual cultivators and loose cultivators were always at odds, but now they are like a family. Zhao Qing nodded, her cheeks flushed. With stronger cohesion, I feel that the empire can be listed on the market. The black market sisters have heard about it, and there are a few more who want to join. The news spread, and a small-scale dual cultivation circle was formed in the empire. Casual cultivators swarmed in. There was a constant sound of cars outside the manor, and neon lights reflected excited faces. Liu Feng looked at the roster and felt warm in his heart. From struggling alone to being a team leader, this growth allowed me to see the overall strategic situation. A few days later, in the office building of Fengxian Health Products Company, Limited, the air was filled with the bitter aroma of coffee and the hum of printers. Liu Feng was sitting in the conference room, and the data on the projection screen beat like a heartbeat. It will be launched soon. The magic pill is disguised as a vitality capsule. Black market sales are booming, and the superficial healthcare market is also booming. The supply of spiritual minerals in the eastern suburbs is stable, the team is efficient, and the cost is kept to a minimum. Target, the market value exceeded 1 billion on the first day. The investors nodded one by one, and Mr. Zhang, who was in a straight suit, wiped his sweat. Director Liu, your business acumen is amazing. From a small company to an empire, you have reversed the Wang family's monopoly, and retail investors are rushing to buy shares. Pinqian was handing over documents at the side with a clear voice. The double cultivation circle of the sisters has been a great help in operations. Lin Wei explores the price of spiritual grass, Zhao Qing optimizes logistics, and the cohesion makes the team like a machine. After the meeting, the stock market warm-up news was flying all over the sky. Fengshuan's stock price soared, and the flashlights of reporters outside the office building were like a shower of stars. Liu Feng stood by the window, looking at the night view of the city. The lights were like spiritual veins extending. The temptation of power is great, but business empires are built by teams. I have to be a strategist and take precautions before they happen. Zishuan pushed the door open and came in with a yellowed ancient book in his hand. He frowned and said, "Boy, Wang Lei will not sit idly by when the market goes smoothly. Come, I will teach you the advanced alchemy skills. The formula of the jade slips is deep, and there is the elixir condensation secret, which can directly reach the golden elixir. The spiritual energy of the dual cultivator team is gathered, try it." Liu Feng sat cross-legged. Zishuan dictated the secret. The spiritual energy was like acupuncture on the meridians, and the pain was refreshing. With the assistance of the Helling Dan, the team injected spiritual power. The Dantian roared like thunder, a golden light rushed to the top, and the cultivation level broke through the early stage of the Jin Dan. The air trembled. Liu Feng opened his eyes. His spiritual pressure was like a mountain. Master, it's done. With the power of the golden elixir, the empire is stable. While celebrating, the alarm sounded. Outside Ling Mine in the eastern suburbs, the night wind howled and dust flew. Wang Lei's voice came from the darkness, as gloomy as a ghost. Liu Feng, go public? Cut off your supply chain first. Beside him, an old man in the golden elixir stage floated in the air, his spiritual pressure coming like a tsunami. The whole body was shining with golden light, and the air was twisted like a heat wave. The casual cultivators under his command rushed towards the mine, the smell of rust mixed with the omen of blood. Liu Feng led the team to arrive, and Pinshuan's bloodline perception spread out like a net. Liu Feng, master of golden elixir. Team attack. Lin Wei's water spirit bloodline turned into a fog shield, blocking the first wave of offensive. Zhao Qing's formation flashed, an earth wall rose from the ground, and the spirit stone veins pulsed and blessed. Liu Feng swallowed the spiritual elixir, and the early spiritual energy of the elixir exploded, like a fire dragon out of the sea. Wang Lei, you join forces with outsiders? Try teamwork. He slapped a palm, and the spiritual pressure hit the old man of the elixir. The air exploded, and the ground cracked like a dragon's spine. Wang Lei sneered, and the family's secret technique fist wind roared. Ancestor, destroy his jade slip. The old man Jindan nodded. The magic weapon flew out, and a golden sword slashed at him. The sword energy was like thunder, causing pain on his cheek. Pinshuan's spiritual thread wrapped around the sword body, pulling it away. Zishuan's engraving formation blocked it, and the blue light netted Wang Lei's men. A turning point flashed through Liu Feng's heart. The jade slip, the secrets it hides can no longer be hidden. During the battle, the jade slip appeared automatically, and a flash of light flashed in my mind. Ancient inheritance is not exclusive to one person. It is the key to the alliance of cultivators. It can open the hidden spiritual realm of the city and jointly resist the catastrophe. But the Wang family's bloodline is greedy and corrupt, and they want to take it all for themselves. This secret was like an electric shock. Liu Feng's eyes changed. He transformed from a warrior to a strategist. He could no longer fight in small groups. He had to unite with the loose cultivators to expose the Wang family's conspiracy. He shouted, "Team, swallow the spirit pills together, and the spiritual energy circulates." The four people's spiritual power gathered together, like a whirlpool swallowing the golden sword. The old man's face turned pale. This, the combined power of two cultivators? Boy, you are hiding deep. Liu Feng punched out, and the power of the golden pill superimposed on the team. The punch was like a mountain avalanche, hitting the old man's chest. There was a sound of bone cracking, and the opponent vomited blood and flew backwards. Seeing that the situation was not good, Wang Lei dragged the old man and ran away. Liu Feng, I will remember this grudge. Listed on the market? Wait until I demolish your house. Outside the mine, the dust has settled, the spiritual stones are scattered on the ground, and the tentacles are cold. Liu Feng gasped and hugged Pinshuan. We won. But the secret of the jade slip is, the ancient alliance, the key to the spiritual realm. The Wang family wants to monopolize it, so we have to expand the circle and form a strategic alliance. Pin. Lin Wei and Zhao Qing gathered around, their voices excited. Mr. Liu, cohesion saves lives in this battle. We need to add more people to the dual cultivation circle. The black market sisters are lining up. The night wind blew away the smoke and dust. Liu Feng looked at the city lights in the distance, and the strategic blueprint in his mind unfolded. From personal growth to the overlord of the empire, the road ahead is like a spiritual vein, winding upward. The morning light shines through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the manor, reflecting Liu Feng's profile. He is still immersed in the afterglow of the battle in the mine last night. The lights of the city have faded, replaced by the hustle and bustle of traffic, and the tall buildings in the distance are pulsing like spiritual veins. Pinshuan walked into the study with hot spiritual fruit tea. The aroma of tea mixed with the sweet and sour fruit hit her nostrils. Liu Feng, last night's blueprint. Didn't you sleep last night? The mind is stable, word has spread in the casual cultivator circle. Your aura as a golden elixir leader has made the black market sisters red-eyed. Come, have a sip of tea and wake up. Liu Feng took the cup, and when the heat filled the air, he smiled, with a hint of calmness in his eyes. Pinchen, the light from the jade slips last night made me see clearly. The road ahead is not to be fought alone, but to build an industrial chain, alliance with casual cultivators, and fight against the greedy Wang family. Before going public, acquire a resource company, spiritual mines, herbal fields, and one-stop logistics. Only when the loop is closed will it be stable. He took a sip of tea, and the spiritual energy flowed down his throat, and the warm current went straight into his dantian. Outside the window, the alchemy furnace in the manor was still humming slightly, and the lingering fragrance of Helling Dan remained in the air. Within a few days, Fengxian Health Products Company, Limited moved like a storm. Liu Feng personally led the team. In the conference room of the office building, the map on the projection screen marked the target companies: Lingchao Plantation in the northeast, ore traders in the south, and logistics warehouses in the northern suburbs. The investor, Mr. Zhang, wiped his sweat and sounded as excited as if he had won a lottery. Director Liu, the capital chain is tight with this wave of acquisitions. From a small workshop to an empire, your business acumen is like the immoral version of Jack Ma. The supply of spiritual minerals has been stabilized, the cost of herbal medicines has been reduced by half, and the output of black market elixirs has doubled. Pinchen sat next to Liu Feng, rustling the documents in her hands. She raised her head with a flash of light in her eyes. Liu Feng, I suggest taking down that logistics company first. They have secret channels and specialize in transporting goods from the immoral cultivation circle. The sister's blood sense can help with inspection. Liu Feng nodded, turned to look at her, and felt warm in his heart. From white-collar worker to deputy, she is not only a friend, but also the backbone of the empire. At the end of the meeting, he took her hand and whispered, Pinchen, from today on, you will be promoted to vice president. You will take the lead in the operation of the empire. It is not because of the double cultivation, but because you are worthy of it. Pinchuan's cheeks were slightly red, she held his hand tightly, and her voice was soft. Liu Feng, this sounds like a proposal. The team is here, and I will work with you. As the cultivation level rises, so will the empire. After the double cultivation last night, I have established a stable foundation, and my aura feels like a quilt at home, warm. Acquisitions are in full swing and the industrial chain is forming a closed loop. The air in the Lingchao garden is humid, and the earthy smell is mixed with the bitterness of the herbs. Lin Wei led the team to explore and found mountains of fresh Lingchao grass. She called excitedly, Mr. Liu, this garden has a close bloodline, and the water spirit attribute matches me. Collect it, and the raw materials for the Lingchao will be stably supplied. Logistics warehouse in the warehouse, the machine roared. Zhao Qing optimized the formation, and the blue light faintly blessed the shelves. The formation is stable, the spiritual energy does not leak, and it is transported to the black market. The elixir is as fresh as just coming out of the oven. The empire is expanding rapidly, and news about stock price warming is flying all over the sky. Outside the office building, reporters' flashlights are pouring down like spiritual rain. At the same time, a new series of elixirs was launched. Zishuan gave guidance in the quiet room of the manor. The fragrance of ink from ancient books in the air was intertwined with the coolness of spiritual energy. Boy, after the golden elixir, the series of bloodline elixirs appeared deep in the jade slip. It is not a single elixir, but a set: water elixir, fire elixir, and array elixir. Specializing in replenishing the team's bloodline. Integrate modern technology and try the alchemy machine. I modified it yesterday and added an electromagnetic field to the spiritual array, which triples the efficiency. Liu Feng nodded, and the machine hummed and started. The furnace rotated like a nebula, and the medicinal materials melted in the spiritual light. Pinchen and her sisters injected their blood. Lin Wei's water spirit was like a stream, and Zhao Qing's formation spirit was like a net. The moment the elixir was formed, the colorful elixir rolled down, and the tentacles were warm, and there was a faint pulse of blood. Word spread, and the black market boiled like a pot. Several beautiful immortal cultivators heard the news, and a woman named Mu Qing with fire spirit bloodline, with long hair like flames and passionate eyes said, "Mr. Liu, take one swallow of this bloodline pill, and the fire spirit will be tamed like a wild horse." In the past, casual cultivators were always suppressed by the Wang family. Now I join your dual cultivator circle, and my fire attribute will supplement the masculinity of the team. The other one is Yilan, who has the bloodline of Windling. His voice is as light as the wind. I am good at intelligence spying, and the bloodline pill stabilizes Windling. During dual cultivation, the spiritual energy circulates quickly, and the empire expands. I help acquire intelligence. They swallowed the pill, their cheeks flushed, and the spiritual energy complemented each other instantly, and the edges of their cultivation were loosened. Liu Feng looked at the name list and felt a sense of growth in his heart. From being alone to being a team leader, this bloodline helped make the empire thrive like a living spiritual beast. The double cultivation circle grew stronger, the candlelight flickered in the manor at night, and the air was as thick as fog. Liu Feng, Pinxian, Mu Qing, and Yilan practiced in a small circle. The blood elixir locked the spirit, and the spiritual energy surged like a river. After the end, Mu Qing gasped and laughed, "Mr. Liu, this feels like a volcano erupting, and the cultivation level goes straight into the foundation." "Wang Lei, I heard that rumors are being spread." Sure enough, Wang Lei launched an economic war. On the stock market, rumors spread like viruses. Feng Shuan's products are poisonous, health capsules are hallucinogenic, and black market elixirs are fake. The stock price fell off a cliff, and the phone in the office building kept ringing. Mr. Zhang was so anxious that he was sweating. Director Liu, the Wang family's mastermind. Retail investors are panicking, and 30% of the market value has been wiped out. Liu Feng stood by the window, with the neon lights of the city reflecting on his face, and his inner monologue was brief. Business is like training, balancing offense and defense. Wang Lei wants to financially suppress me, so he has to openly challenge and win public support. The next day, at the press conference, the lights were dazzling and the reporters' microphones were like swords. He walked up to the stage and said in a calm voice, "Everyone, Fengxian is not a scam, it is a combination of technology and nature." Rumors? Come and test the medicine on the spot. He swallowed a fake spirit-gathering pill on the spot, his spiritual energy was faintly circulating, and his face was rosy. "Look, it is full of energy. Who dares to question? Open bet. I invite Wang Lei to come on stage to compare the authenticity of the products." The empire relies on the team, not the dirty tricks. There was buzzing discussion in the audience. Wang Lei's remote-controlled men were livid, and public support poured in. Online searches exploded, the stock price rebounded, and retail investors left messages on the screen. "Dr. Liu is tough. Get out of the Wang family's conspiracy." Pinxian held his hand backstage, her eyes wet. "Liu Feng, your hand has also been emotionally sublimated. From a warrior to a leader, you and I will never be separated." After the press conference, the empire stabilized its position, acquisitions continued, and the industrial chain was like an iron barrel. Zishuan guided the integration of technology in the manor. The upgraded version of the machine buzzed and the electromagnetic spiritual array flashed. Boy, modern circuits and jade slip runes make elixir refining like an assembly line. Bloodline pills are mass-produced, and the team's blood is injected into them, so the efficiency is high. Liu Feng tried, sweat drops fell, and his inner growth was like the expansion of spiritual energy. The business empire is the shell, and cultivation is the core. Balance is the kingly way. The machine spit out the elixir, and the fragrance filled the air. He smiled, "Master, this thing, the empire has taken off." The climax came suddenly. Wang Lei sent a general, a family deacon at the peak of foundation building, to sneak into the logistics warehouse. The night wind howled, and the smell of rust mixed with blood. The deacon floated in the air, his spiritual pressure was like a knife. "Liu Feng, cut off your escape." His men rushed towards him, the light of the sword flashing. Liu Feng led the team to arrive, and Pinshuan's perception network was rolled out. "Liu Feng, swallow the bloodline pills together, Team attack. Mu Qing's fire spirit erupted, burning the enemy like a wall of flames. Yi Lan's wind spirit entangled, and the intelligence locked the weak point. Lin Wei's water shield and Zhao Qing's array were sealed, and the spiritual energy circulated like a net. The power of Liu Feng's golden elixir was operating, and with the blessing of the bloodline elixir, the wind of his fist was like a landslide. Wang Lei's dog legs, get out. With a palm shot, the spiritual pressure hit the deacon, the air exploded, and the ground cracked like a spider web. The deacon vomited blood and fell to the ground, his eyes horrified. This, the team's blood combined? Master Wang is wrong. Liu Feng stepped on him and said in a cold voice, "Tell Wang Lei, the economic war is lost, and the military force is also lost. The empire is stable, and the next step is to join forces to expose your family's conspiracy." The deacon was captured, the warehouse lights came on, the team cheered, and the air was filled with the warmth of victory. Late at night, Liu Feng and Pinxian watched the stars side by side, and the city lights appeared like the first signs of a spiritual realm. He whispered, "It's balanced, business and practice are both balanced. The jade slips are deep, waiting for us to dig." Pinxian leaned on his shoulder, her voice gentle, "Liu Feng, the empire is like home, we will go forward together." In the distance, the shadow of the Wang family still lingers, but the aura of the team has illuminated the new situation. The starry sky is like ink, dotted with the neon veins of the city, and the coolness of the night breeze still lingers on the shoulders of Liu Feng and Pinxian. They walked back to the main hall of the manor side by side, their steps brisk. The air was filled with the residual warmth of the distant alchemy furnace, faintly mixed with the bitterness of the herbs. Pinxuan's fingers gently hooked his sleeves, and there was a smile in her voice. "Liu Feng, what you said just now sounds like a blueprint. The team has grown, and the dual cultivation circle needs to be expanded. Mu Qing and the others have complementary blood, and their cultivation levels are rising quickly. The sisters all say that the empire is like a big family, and the spiritual energy is shared. Who wants to fight alone?" Liu Feng nodded and pushed open the hall door. The candlelight flickered inside. Mu Qing, Yi Lan, Lin Wei, and Zhao Qing were sitting in a circle. The newly refined bloodline pills were scattered on the table. The surface of the pills shimmered like gems, the tentacles were slightly cold, and the spiritual energy penetrated into the skin like drizzle. After they swallowed the elixir, the scope of their dual cultivation expanded from the small circle. Now every night in the quiet room in the backyard of the manor, spiritual energy surges like a tide. Mu Qing spoke first, her voice as hot as her fire spirit bloodline. "Mr. Liu, another round tonight?" The last attack, the fire spirit pill stabilized my foundation. I feel like boiling spiritual wine, and my blood is boiling. Join you, the days of casual cultivation are over, and the Wang family will be burned to ashes by us sooner or later. Yi Lan chuckled, and her words were like a breeze blowing on her face because of the wind spirit blood. The intelligence network has been spread, and there are rumors in the black market that the Fengshan Empire is the secret overlord. The casual cultivators are red-eyed, and several beautiful immortal cultivators are asking about the dual cultivators. One is called Shuanger, who is of the ice spirit bloodline and is good at freezing formations. The other one is Yanyu, with Lei Ling bloodline, and the lightning information is as fast as lightning. They swallowed the sample pills, and their cultivation levels were loosened, and they begged to join the team. Liu Feng glanced at the crowd, and a warm feeling surged in his heart. From the lone wolf to the leader, this team was like a living spiritual formation, with their bloodlines blending together, and their cultivation levels rising collectively. He said solemnly, "Okay, expand the circle, but the two cultivators do not act randomly and must have absolute trust. The blood elixir locks the spiritual energy and complements each other to upgrade. The empire relies on this force to firmly occupy the top spot in urban immoral cultivation." In the quiet room at night, the air was as thick as fog, and the candlelight illuminated everyone sitting cross-legged, with Liu Feng in the middle, and their spiritual energy flowing like a river. Pinxian first injects the water spirit, and the coolness is like a stream flowing in. Mu Qing's fire spirit bursts out, and the heat wave rolls. Yi Lan's wind spirit wraps around, and the light spirit circulates. the newly added Shuang'er and Yin Yu follow, interweaving ice and thunder, and the spiritual pressure is like the beginning of a storm. Dual cultivation was activated, guided by the power of Liu Feng's golden elixir. The effect of the bloodline elixir exploded, everyone's cheeks flushed, and their cultivation levels all broke through in a breath. Pinshuan's late foundation building, Lin Wei's water shield became more solid, and Mu Qing's fire spirit was like a flaming dragon. At the end, Shuang'er opened her eyes and said in a clear voice, "Mr. Liu, this feeling, the ice melts, the aura is like hot soup at home, warming to the bones. Imperial Overlord, we are determined to follow you." A few days passed, and the empire awakened like a giant beast. The supply of Fengxian elixirs in the black market exceeded the demand, and the casual cultivator circle regarded Liu Feng as the secret king. In the office building, the international map flashed on the projection screen. Liu Feng pointed at a red dot in Europe: enter the international black market and acquire overseas spiritual veins. Let's start with the hidden mineral veins in Eastern Europe. The Wang family has not touched there yet. The spiritual energy is pure and suitable for blood vessels. Dan upgrade. Mr. Zhang pushed up his glasses, his hands shaking with excitement. Director Liu, the funds have been mobilized, and the logistics fleet has been disguised as a transportation of health products through offshore companies. The overseas casual cultivators are red-eyed after hearing the news, and they call you the Empire and the Huawei of the immoral world. Pin Xian leaned on the table and rustled documents. Liu Feng, my intelligence network has found out that there is a protective formation in the spiritual veins of Eastern Europe, but the blood of the sisters can be broken. After the acquisition, the global black market network was opened, and the Empire was not only the urban overlord, but also the world. Liu Feng looked at her with gentle eyes, but suddenly noticed that the jade slip was slightly hot in his arms. He took out the jade slip, his aura rippled like water, and deep runes emerged. Ancient conspiracy clues. The bloodline empire originated from the ancient immoral battle. The jade slip is the key, sealing the door to the spiritual realm. The Wang family's bloodline, descendants have their hands on it, and they want to break the taboo and swallow up thousands of veins. Liu Feng frowned. The Wang Lei family is involved in the ancient conspiracy. They not only snatched the secret recipe, but also want to open up the spiritual realm and monopolize the resources. The news was like a thunder, and there was a lot of discussion in the team quiet room. Zishuan stroked his beard and said in a low voice, "Boy, the deep layer of the jade slip has been unlocked. In the ancient war, the ancestors of the Wang family betrayed and sealed the spiritual realm, and the descendants coveted them. We must guard against them." Mu Qing smashed his fist. "Wang Lei, that bastard, lost the economic war, and now you are playing dirty tricks? Burn him." Liu Feng's heart tightened, and the impulse came to him: kill the Wang family directly? But he took a deep breath, and his inner monologue flashed through. He used to be impulsive like a wild horse, but now that the empire is on his shoulders, calmness can balance him. He slapped the table. "Don't worry, first stabilize the business, acquire overseas spiritual veins, and strengthen yourself. Emotionally, you must also be stable." As soon as she finished speaking, Pin Xian suddenly turned pale and pulled him to the balcony. The night wind ruffled her hair. "Liu Feng, this conspiracy on the jade slips. After my bloodline awakened, I always saw ancient shadows in my dreams. The Wang family bloodline is like a poisonous snake. What will the Empire do if they target me? What will you do? Won't you regret choosing me?" Emotional crisis came like an undercurrent. Pinshuan's eyes were wet and her voice was trembling. The circle of double cultivation has expanded, and the new sisters have strong blood. I'm afraid that I will become a burden and hold you back. Liu Feng's heart was like a knife, and he changed from impulsive anger to calm determination. Holding her hand, a warm stream of spiritual energy came from the palm. "Pinxian, fool, from white-collar worker to vice president, you are my backbone. Ancient conspiracy, no matter how evil the Wang family is, we will carry it together. Dual cultivation is not a tool, it is trust. You are always the first. The Empire is like home. Without you, I am so excited." Bottom. Pinshuan's tears flashed and she leaned into his arms. Liu Feng, these words have resolved my knot. I am more determined. We are of the same blood. What's the point of conspiracy? They hugged each other, and their emotions were sublimated like elixirs. The team saw it, and their morale became stronger. Business moves were imminent, and Liu Feng led his team to fly to Eastern Europe. The air on the plane was dry and the sea of clouds was billowing outside the window. After landing, the black market contact whispered, "Mr. Liu, the spiritual veins are deep in the mountains, and the Guardians bought them." The acquisition went smoothly. The spiritual veins were like underground dragon veins. When they touched the ground, the spiritual energy hit the face, and the soil was moist and mixed with the rusty smell of ores. Schwanger's ice spirit broke through the formation. The enemy was swept away by smoke, rain and thunder. Overseas spiritual veins were obtained, the Empire's global layout began to emerge, and the black market network spread like spider silk. A sudden turn of events occurred, and Wang Lei took action himself. While Zishuan was studying jade slips in the quiet room of the manor, he was suddenly kidnapped by Wang Lei. The phone rang, and Wang Lei's voice was as cold as a knife. "Liu Feng, the old man is in my hand. Hand over the secret recipe of the bloodline pill, otherwise the key to the spirit realm will be destroyed." Liu Feng heard that blood rush to his forehead, and he impulsively wanted to kill alone, but Pin Xian stopped him. "Liu Feng, calm down. Attack as a team. The Wang family has many masters. Impulsiveness loses everything." He took a deep breath, and changed from his heart. He has grown up, he is no longer a hot-blooded boy. Calm strategy is the way to go. Okay, the intelligence network is activated. Detective Yilan and Mu Qinghua will clear the way. We will rescue and kill them. It was a stormy night at the Wang family villa, and the rain hit her face with freezing coldness. Yilan Fengling sneaked in, and the intelligence locked. Zishuan is in the basement, and Wang Lei personally leads 3 early-stage Jindan masters to guard it. Liu Feng's team approached like ghosts. Mu Qing's fire spirit ignited the fog, Schwanger froze the back door, and Lin Wei's water shield protected them. Rushing into the room, the spiritual pressure hit and the air exploded like thunder. Wang Lei floated in the air with crazy eyes. "Liu Feng, your empire is over." Ancient conspiracy, Wang family's revival. His men rushed towards him, and the golden elixir's spiritual power was like a net. Liu Feng calmly commanded, "Swallow the bloodline pills together, combined attack." The spiritual energy cycle exploded. Pin Xian sensed the weak point of the lock, bombarded by smoke, rain, thunder, and light. Mu Qing fire dragon burned his body. A master screamed and fell to the ground. The smell of blood filled the air. Liu Feng gathered the power of the golden elixir and punched like a mountain avalanche, smashing the second master's protective aura. "Wang Lei, get out of your plot." Wang Lei fought back in panic. The family's secret method was flashing with blood, but the team's combined strength was like an iron wall. He vomited blood and retreated. "This bloodline empire? Impossible." Liu Feng didn't let him breathe, and counterattacked to kill the third master. The sword light flashed across, and the spiritual pressure collapsed. Zishuan was rescued, stroking his beard and smiling. "Boy, you are so calm, the master is proud." Wang Lei fled, the villa burst into flames, and rain extinguished the embers. Liu Feng helped Zishuan get into the car, his heart growing like aura solidifying. From impulsive to calm, in this battle, the empire became more iron-blooded. On the return plane, Pin Xian leaned on his shoulder. "Liu Feng, the global layout is stable, overseas spiritual veins are transported back, and the black market network is opened. In the second half of the journey, the climax is coming, the Wang family's conspiracy, we will dig to the bottom." Outside the window, the lights of Europe are like stars, the Empire's territory is expanding, the gate of the spiritual realm is calling faintly, and a new situation is brewing like a storm. The low roar of the aircraft engine was like thunder in the distance. Liu Feng looked out the window at the increasingly sparse lights of Europe, and the iron blood in his heart was still echoing. Pinshuan's head rested lightly on his shoulder, and her hair swept across the side of his neck, carrying a faint scent of jasmine, as warm as a soothing pill. She whispered, "Liu Feng, the deeper the Wang family's conspiracy digs, the more it looks like the maze of alleys in old Beijing, with knives hidden in every twist and turn. The global layout is stable, but after returning to China, we must first stabilize the casual cultivator circle to prevent that guy Wang Lei from forming a clique. Liu Feng nodded and placed his palm lightly on hers. The spiritual energy flowed quietly, dispelling the worries between her brows. Well, Zixuan has been rescued. We have the clues on the jade slips. We don't panic. The empire is like a big ship. When the wind and waves come, we have to row together. In the back cabin, Mu Qing stretched out his arms. She was lazy, and her cheeks were still flushed with the blood of the fire spirit. Mr. Liu, in that night attack just now, Wang Lei vomited blood and ran away. But his family is rich, so he probably joined forces with other families to fight back. Have the sisters prepared all the blood pills? Next round, we will burn him to death. Yi Lan looked up from the pile of documents, and Feng Ling made her voice as light as wicker. The intelligence network reported back that the black market is tight. Wang Lei has joined forces with 3 immortal cultivating families, the Li family, the Zhao family and the Sun family, all of which are established forces. They are eyeing our overseas spiritual veins and say they will encircle and suppress the Fengshan Empire and cut off our escape route. The first battle is about to begin, and we have to return to the country to set up defenses. Shuang'er and Yanyu joined in, and Shuang'er's ice spirit bloodline made the air around her slightly cold. She bit her lip. Mr. Liu, we heard that there is an insider in Wang Lei's side who spreads rumors that your dual cultivator is evil. When the plane landed, it was already early morning, and the fog at the capital airport was humid, mixed with the smell of soil and gasoline. The team went straight to the manor, the lights of the motorcade cut through the night. When Liu Feng got off the car, Zixuan was already waiting in the front hall, stroking his beard and smiling. Boy, are you back? I have adjusted my breath for 2 days, and my spiritual power has stabilized. The Wang family's conspiracy, the gate to the spiritual realm and the jade slips, is not a trivial fight. We have to perfect the dual cultivation formation and turn the team into an iron formation. The crisis was like a torrential rain, and in the early morning of the next day, black market intelligence exploded. Wang Lei's alliance launched an encirclement and suppression campaign, and the first wave of offensive was directed at the Empire's elixir factory in the suburbs. That is their lifeblood. The electromagnetic spiritual array refines bloodline pills in batches. The spiritual energy is like mist, and the scent of medicine is always floating in the air. Liu Feng heard this in the office and smashed his fist on the table. Wang Lei, are you serious? Lian Sanjia has great ambitions. Pin Xian's face darkened, and the red dot flashed on the intelligence screen. Liu Feng, there are many of them, at least 5 golden elixir masters, and hundreds of foundation building stragglers. The factory is poorly guarded, and if you go there impulsively, you will be killed. Liu Feng took a deep breath, and a turning point flashed in his mind. In the past, he would kill it alone, like the stupid green man in the hot-blooded comics. But now, the Empire is like a mountain on the shoulders, the team is flesh and blood, and the leader is not a hero, but an escort for everyone. He said solemnly, use the dual cultivator team and attack with everyone. Pill plus battle mode, bloodline pills are fired together, and the joint attack formation is opened. Zixuan, you sit in the back and perfect the formation. Zixuan nodded, his eyes flashing. Okay, I have an upgraded version of the electromagnetic spiritual formation, which can lock the circulation of spiritual energy and make you one. Liu Feng, sprint to the peak of the golden elixir, is in this battle. Outside the factory, wind and sand rolled up, dust hit our faces, mixed with rust and signs of blood. Wang Lei's alliance came like a tide, with the Li family's fire cultivators at the front, the Zhao family's earth shields as escorts, and the Sun family's wind blades as assists. Wang Lei commanded from the air, covered in blood and light, and his voice was like a poisonous snake spitting out a message. Liu Feng, hand over the jade slip and the secret recipe. Your bloodline empire will be wiped out today. The master pounced down, his spiritual pressure was like a mountain collapse, and the air twisted and buzzed. Liu Feng's team appeared like ghosts, and Mu Qing took the lead in swallowing the fire spirit pill, and the flames exploded like a tornado. Burn you losers. She attacked with fire spirits, and the heat wave burned the sky, and the Li family's fire cultivators exploded themselves, screaming again and again. Yilan was surrounded by wind and spirit, and thunder and lightning roared. The intelligence is locked, the weak point is the earth shield. Thunder and lightning were like silver snakes, tearing apart the Zhao family's defense line, and the sound of earth shattering was like thunder. Shuang'er froze the ground. Lin Wei's water shield protected her like waves. The new sisters' blood complemented each other, and their spiritual energy circulated like a rushing river. Pin Qian stood beside Liu Feng, and the water spirit was injected into her, but suddenly her whole body trembled, and her blood veins erupted like a volcano. Her eyes flashed with blue light, and her voice was trembling but firm. Liu Feng, my bloodline, is fully awakened. The source of the ancient water spirit, the fragment of the spirit realm, is calling. She pressed her palms to the ground, and the water spirit exploded like a tide. The Alliance's earth shield collapsed instantly, and the enemy's feet felt like a quagmire, and ice and water intertwined and froze dozens of people. Liu Feng's heart heats up. Pin Qian, you are the strongest helper. Combined attack. The dual cultivation techniques are running. The team's spiritual energy merges into his body, the golden elixir rotates like stars, the cultivation reaches the peak, the fist wind is like thunder, smashing the body of a golden elixir master. Wang Lei, your alliance is broken. After a great victory in the first battle, the enemy was defeated. Wang Lei's face was livid. When he escaped, he said, Liu Feng, this is just an appetizer. I have got the jade slip fragments. The battlefield was filled with smoke and the smell of burning was pungent. Liu Feng supported Pin Qian, and a warm current surged in his heart. Her awakening was like an extra steel wall in the empire. While the team was breathing, Yinyu suddenly blinked her eyelashes. Her Lei Ling bloodline gave her information like lightning. Mr. Liu, my new channel found that Wang Lei stole a fragment of the jade slip. It was hidden in their suburban base and obtained from the black market antique auction. The Sun family helped. There are spiritual domain opening runes on the fragment. He wants to revive the Wang family bloodline in advance. Liu Feng frowned. Good information, Yinyu, you have made a great contribution. Zishuan, how about the formation? Zishuan came from behind, his beard and hair slightly messy, but excited. It's perfect. The dual cultivation formation plus electromagnetic lock, blood circulation like a large formation, the team's cultivation is shared. Liu Feng, swallow this formation elixir, your spiritual pressure will be stable, and the peak of the golden elixir will be just around the corner. Liu Feng took it, his spiritual energy burned like fire, his meridians expanded, and he was as happy as taking a spiritual spring bath. As he sprinted towards cultivation, he felt like he was reborn, and his leadership responsibilities were even heavier. The empire is not a battlefield for one person, but the destiny of everyone, and every piece of the puzzle must be protected. The commercial counterattack was like an arrow. Liu Feng immediately held a press conference, and the black market live broadcast room was as lively as a temple fair. On the projection screen, pill samples flashed, and his voice was sonorous. Fengxian Empire, aid the casual cultivators. A batch of free bloodline pills will help the casual cultivators break through and share spiritual energy. Join us and fight against the Wang family's conspiracy. The casual cultivators in the audience were red-eyed, and Mu Qing shouted enthusiastically, Sisters, our bloodline complements each other, and the empire is like home. Whoever comes will profit. The news was like wildfire, the circle of allies expanded, hundreds of casual cultivators poured in, the intelligence network became denser, and the black market trend reversed. Wang Lei's alliance is isolated, and the Sun family has been shaken internally. The inner turning point came in the Yi Jing room. Liu Feng sat cross-legged, surrounded by spiritual energy like mist. When he thought back to the battle, the shadow of impulse faded and was replaced by heavy responsibility. From office workers to overlords, every step was stepped on the shoulders of the team. Pin Qian sat next to him and touched lightly with her fingers. Liu Feng, after awakening, I feel that the spiritual realm is like the call of blood, but the empire takes priority. You have changed, more like a helmsman. His inner monologue was brief. Yes, leadership is not about being aloof, but about bearing the wind and rain. He held her hand tightly. Pinxian, let's work together. Destroy Wang Lei's base and cut off his escape route. The climax broke out at the base on the outskirts of the city. The moon was dark and the wind was high, and the raindrops hit the ground like drums. Liu Feng's team sneaked in, Schwanger Bingling sealed the road, and the enemy was detected by smoke, rain, thunder, and light. The base is hidden in an abandoned factory, with rusted iron doors and the pungent smell of machine oil and spiritual stones filling the air. Wang Lei personally guarded, placing the fragment in the center of the formation, the bloodlight flickering. Liu Feng, are you here to die? Liu Feng sneered, your fragment, the spiritual dream, wake up. The team attack was activated. Zixuan formation locked the spirit, Pinxian water spirit awakened like a tsunami, Muqing fire dragon burned the formation, and Yilan's wind blade tore apart. Liu Feng's golden elixir was fully charged, and he struck the center of the formation with a sword like a mountain, broken. The explosion was like thunder, the base collapsed, the fragments exploded into powder, and the fire shot into the sky and reflected the night sky red. Wang Lei vomited blood and fell to the ground with despair in his eyes. It's impossible, the Wang family will be revived. Liu Feng did not pursue him and waved his hand to retreat. The rain washed his face, and the coldness penetrated his bones. On the way back in the car, Zixuan said, boy, this destruction has broken half of the conspiracy. There is still a backup plan for the gate to the spiritual realm. Pinxian leaned over and said in a soft voice, Liu Feng, the empire is iron-blooded. Next step, the global black market is fully opened, and the end of the Wang family is near. Liu Feng nodded. The lights outside the window were like stars, and the road to growth was still extending. Outside the car window, the fog in the capital was like neon wrapped in gauze, and the asphalt road after the rain reflected mottled light and shadow. Liu Feng's fingertips tapped his knees, and the roar of the base's collapse was still echoing in his mind. Zixuan's words were like a thorn, piercing into his heart. There is still a backup plan for the gate to the spiritual realm. He turned to look at Pinxian. The blue light in her eyes had faded, but there was a touch of gentle tenacity. Liu Feng, the empire is iron-blooded, but that bastard Wang Lei will not just swallow this breath. Before the global black market can fully open, the roots of the jade slips must be dug out. Liu Feng nodded, his voice as low as the night wind. Yes, go back to the manor and gather everyone. Zixuan, what you said is a backup, let's take a look tonight. The motorcade turned into the manor gate, the iron gate creaked, and the air was filled with the fragrance of wet soil and pine needles, mixed with the medicinal fragrance of the alchemy furnace in the distance. The team filed in. Muqing shook off the rain, and the fire spirit blood made her whole body steamy. Mr. Liu, the battle just now was great. But I feel that Wang Lei's bloody evil sect is like the legend of the ghost market in old Beijing, hiding ancient filth. The office was brightly lit, and the red lines on the intelligence screen were intertwined like a spider web. Liu Feng sat down cross-legged, took out the jade slip fragment, and injected it with spiritual energy. The fragment buzzed like a living thing, and a faint mist floated in the air, carrying the smell of ancient dust. Zixuan stroked his beard and moved closer, his eyes twinkling. Boy, this jade slip is the core of the seal of the ancient spiritual realm. The Wang family, they are the remnants of the ancient forces. During the spiritual realm war, the Wang family defected to the demon cultivator, intending to monopolize the city's spiritual energy veins, revive the bloodline and control the overall situation. The fragments were destroyed, only one of their arms was broken, but the core is still in Wang Lei's lair, hiding the key to open the spiritual realm. Pinxian frowned and tapped the keyboard with her fingers quickly, and information popped up like raindrops. Liu Feng, Zixuan is right. My black market informant found out that the Wang Lei family's ancestral home is in the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing, and there is a spiritual gathering point underground. After their alliance was defeated, they were gathering their last strength to prepare for a general attack on the imperial headquarters. Grab the core of the jade slips and restart the spiritual realm. If the city's aura is controlled by them, the casual cultivator circle will be completely destroyed, and the empire will also fall. Liu Feng clenched his fists, and a brief transition occurred in his heart. In the past, he was like a frightened bird. Now, taking the initiative is the best way to protect this hard-won country. He said solemnly, the Empire is transforming its defense, and everyone is preparing for war. Mu Qing, Yilan, you integrate the new members. Xuan'er and Yanyu are in charge of the border's spiritual formation. Zishuan, help me guard the alchemy room. I will refine the ultimate battle elixir and upgrade everyone to the nascent soul level. In the alchemy room, the fire was blazing, and the heat wave hit my face like a summer steamer, mixed with the burning smell of alchemy and spiritual stone. Liu Feng waved his sleeves, and the electromagnetic spiritual array was activated. The jade slip fragments were suspended, and spiritual energy poured out like a river. His genius alchemy works like clouds and flowing water. Sweat rolls down his forehead, and his inner monologue is brief. Responsibility is like a mountain, and the team must fly. A few hours later, a furnace of war elixirs flashing with golden light was released. The elixir was like stars, emitting majestic spiritual pressure. This is the nascent soul war elixir. After swallowing it, the blood will fuse and the cultivation will reach the early stage of nascent soul. Team, everyone takes it. As night falls, in the back garden of the manor, the moonlight shines on the rockery pond, and the water ripples like silver scales. Liu Feng took Pinshuan's hand and walked towards the secret double cultivation room. The door was lightly closed, the aura in the room was lingering, and the candlelight swayed, casting warm yellow light and shadow. Her cheeks were slightly red, and the water spirit blood made the air moist like spring mist. Liu Feng, after awakening, I felt the spirit realm calling, but you are my source. He gently hugged her into his arms. The dual cultivation techniques were quietly running, the spiritual energy was intertwined like silk threads, and the heat in the body surged, as pleasant as soaking in a hot spring. She murmured, Liu Feng, let's break through together. The spiritual pressure exploded, and their cultivation levels both jumped to the realm of yuanying. Their emotions were full like a tide, and their mutual trust was eternal. She gasped and leaned on his chest, the Empire is like home, you are the helmsman, and I will always be with you. Liu Feng kissed her forehead, Pinxian, thank you for turning me from a lone wolf into a wolf king. The integration of new members was in full swing, and Mu Qing took the lead in shouting, sisters, swallow the pill. Xuan'er, your ice spirit is a perfect match for Yinyu's thunder. Xuan'er swallowed the battle pill, the ice energy exploded, and frost flowers flew around her body. Her voice was crisp, Mr. Liu, I feel like a mountain of power. Thank you for the opportunity. The thunder spirit of Yanyu roared, and his eyelashes blinked, the intelligence network has been upgraded. I'm looking for Wang Lei to move like a pattern on the palm of his hand. Yilan Fengling chuckled, everyone has complementary blood, and the team is the same. Whoever comes will be unlucky. Zishuan gathered everyone and taught the forbidden technique. This is the forbidden technique of the spiritual realm, the soul locking array, which can counterattack the enemy's spiritual energy and turn it into your own use. But use it carefully, otherwise it will backfire and hurt yourself. He demonstrated, his gestures were like talismans, and the spiritual patterns flickered in the air. Everyone followed him, and the tacit understanding was as strong as iron. Wang Lei's general attack was like a storm. At dusk the next day, dark clouds came over the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing. The wind and rain were blowing, and the footsteps on the muddy path were like drums. The intelligence screen flashed. Wang Lei personally led more than a dozen golden elixir masters, and all the remaining members of the alliance attacked the imperial headquarters manor in a bloody light. Liu Feng, the core of the jade slip is in hand, the spiritual realm is open, your empire will be destroyed today. Wang Lei's roar came from the distance, mixed with thunder. Liu Feng set up an ambush in the tower of the manor and sneered, come on, this time, I will take the initiative. The team hid in the spiritual formation, the electromagnetic lock was activated, and the air buzzed like a beehive. Enemies poured into the border of the manor, the rain hit their faces like needles, the Li family's remaining fire repairs were in front, and the Zhao family's earth shield was like a wall. Mu Qing took the lead to attack, and the power of the fire spirit nascent soul exploded, burn your kennels. The flames were like a tornado, burning up the earth shield, and the screams mixed with the sound of rain. Liu Feng's blade danced wildly like a wicker, weakness locked, schwanger on. Schwanger froze the ground, and the slippery ice made the enemy stagger. Smoke, rain, and thunder struck down. Intelligence shows that Wang Lei is behind, and the forbidden technique is ready. Zishuan's soul-locking formation opened, and the spirit patterns were like a net under the cover. The spiritual energy of the 3 golden elixir masters backfired, and they fell to the ground with bleeding from their 7 orifices. Impossible. How could the remnants of the Wang family? Liu Feng and Pinxian joined forces. Water and fire blended like a tsunami. Nascent soul spiritual pressure crushed them, but Wang Lei's bloody body protection stepped back step by step. Liu Feng, you. The climax broke out in the center of the formation. Liu Feng took the initiative to attack. His sword light was like thunder. Wang Lei, your conspiracy is over. He rushed into the enemy formation, assisted by a team attack, and the forbidden technique of soul-locking counterattacked Wang Lei's spiritual energy. The core of the jade slip was shaken out of his arms, and the aura flourished. Liu Feng slapped it with a palm and took the core. Spiritual energy poured into the imperial formation like a tide, resources increased dramatically, and the spiritual veins expanded several times. Wang Lei vomited blood and knelt down, his eyes collapsed. Spirit realm. Wang family. The masters killed 5 people, and the rest fled. The smell of blood in the rain was pungent. Liu Feng helped Pinxian up, and the team cheered. Mr. Liu, we win. Zishuan said, nuclear the heart is in hand, and the seal of the spiritual realm is secure. But you still have to be careful about the aftermath of the ancient times. Liu Feng looked at the distant mountains. The rain stopped and the clouds dispersed, and the stars began to appear. The responsibility in his heart became heavier. The feeling of attacking was like breaking out of a cocoon and becoming a butterfly. The road to the empire was getting wider and wider. Starlight fell on the manor like broken silver, and the air after the rain was as fresh as tea soaked in well water, mixed with the faint medicinal fragrance of the earth and the distant alchemy furnace. Liu Feng stood on the edge of the tower, the wind ruffling his hair, and the cheers of the team still echoed in his ears. Pinxuan's hand gently held his arm, and the warm touch was like a warm current, diluting the heaviness in his heart. He turned around and looked at everyone, his voice as steady as a rock. We won this battle, but that guy Wang Lei's tail has not been completely cut off. The empire cannot relax. From now on, all fronts will shift to wartime economy. The production of elixirs will be doubled, all spiritual stone resources will be allocated to the front line, the expansion of black market lines will be suspended, and the alliance will be stabilized first. Mu Qing wiped the sweat from her forehead, and the fire spirit bloodline made her cheeks as rosy as the morning glow. Mr. Liu, you are right. The fire just now made me happy, but Wang Lei's blood is so evil, I feel that he still has a killer move hidden. Sisters, the alchemy room has started to provide an unlimited supply of nascent soul battle pills, so that the casual cultivator alliance can see the iron fist of our empire. Schwanger nodded, her ice spirit aura cooling the air around her. Her crisp voice was playful with a Beijing flavor. My enemy, Mr. Liu, I and Yin used thunder and ice combined attack, and the cold made those golden elixirs tremble just now. Intelligence shows that the remnant of Wang Lei returned to his ancestral home on the outskirts of Beijing, and the underground spiritual veins are restless, like the dragon veins of old Beijing are about to wake up. In the office, the light reflected the red and blue light of the intelligence screen. Zishuan sat cross-legged in a corner, stroking his beard, and a tired but determined light flashed in his eyes. Boy, the core of the jade slip is in hand, and the seal of the spiritual realm is temporarily stable, but the remnants of the Wang family are deeply rooted. In the ancient spiritual realm war, they took refuge in the demon cultivator, not only for spiritual energy, but also for revival. The bloodline controls all the hermit cultivators in the city. When the core shook, I saw a shadow. Wang Lei might awaken the ancient ruins and summon the demonic cultivators to counterattack. Liu Feng frowned, tapped his finger on the table, and a short monologue flashed in his heart. I used to be timid, but now I have a mountain of responsibilities, and I have to make the empire the backbone of the alliance. he said solemnly, Zishuan, you are right. Pinxian, contact the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, and provide Imperial elixirs free of charge in exchange for their loyalty. Mu Qing and Yilan, integrate new members, conduct bloodline fusion training, and prepare all nascent souls for battle. Pinxuan's fingers flew on the keyboard, and the global black market data popped up on the screen. Her voice was soft but strong. Liu Feng, the order has been issued. During the transformation of the Imperial Commercial Empire, the elixir production line was running 24 hours a day, and the spirit stone veins were fully opened. The casual cultivators heard about the nascent soul battle pill and swarmed in. The core of the alliance has designated us as the leader. Monitoring in the suburbs of Beijing, the spiritual pressure of Wang Lei's ancestral home skyrocketed, and he was exposed. The bloodlight was mixed with ancient demonic energy, and he was summoning the power of the ruins. As soon as he finished speaking, a blood-red light pillar shot into the sky outside the window. The distant mountains seemed to be torn apart, the roar was like thunder, and the air was filled with the ancient smell of decay, like the smell of old musty mixed with sulfur deep in the alley. The whole team rushed to the war room. Yilan's Fengling bloodline made her figure as erratic as catkins. Mr. Liu, this bastard Wang Lei is really anxious. Intelligence showed that he used the family's forbidden blood as a sacrifice to awaken the ancient ruins under the ancestral home, the gate of the demon realm. The door opened, and the remnant soul of the demon cultivator poured out, which can corrupt the spiritual energy of our empire will suffer. Yen Yu blinked her eyelashes, and the lightning danced on her fingertips. I found out the details. Wang Lei is personally in charge, and the power of the remnants of the Jinnan party has gathered, so we must fight quickly, otherwise the black market in the city will be in chaos. Liu Feng clenched his fist and turned to Zishuan. Brother, let me tell you the whole conspiracy now. How to break this demon realm. Zishuan stood up, his face was pale, but he smiled freely. Boy, the Wang family's conspiracy goes beyond the spiritual realm. The jade slips are the key to the battle between ancient immortals and demons. They want to use the urban spiritual veins to resurrect the demon lord's clone and control the hermit world. Break it. Fa, I will use my life essence to lock the demonic realm and help you attack together. But I have to sacrifice 100 years of life essence. Is it worth it? Liu Feng's eyes darkened and he patted his shoulder. It's worth it. Team, prepare to attack with me. In the secret double cultivation room, the candlelight flickered like a ghost, and the spiritual energy lingered like flowers in the mist. Pinxian took off her outer robe, and her water spirit blood made her skin look like jade. She hugged Liu Feng lightly, and her voice was soft. Liu Feng, the demon realm is a big threat, but with you, I'm not afraid. The ultimate in dual cultivation, the complementation of spiritual energy will allow you to break through to the middle stage of nascent soul. He nodded, put his hands on her waist, and the technique was running. The spiritual energy was flowing like rivers, and the heat flowed through the meridians, which was as pleasant as soaking in a spiritual spring. She whispered, I feel, the spiritual realm is resonating. Your alchemy talent is integrated into the blood, and the cultivation level is like a rocket. The spiritual pressure in the body explodes, and Liu Feng's mid-stage nascent soul cultivation level is naturally achieved. The aura is strong, and the whole body is like a golden armor. Emotions surge like a tide. Pinxian, you are half of my sky, and the empire is iron-blooded because of you. After the double cultivation, the team gathered in the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing. The night wind howled, the pine forest rustled like a ghost weeping, and the muddy paths were stained with footprints. Mu Qing took the lead in the charge, and the power of the fire soul nascent soul burned the sky. Wang Lei, get out. The imperial elixir is unlimited, your demon door will be burned to ashes. The flames swept around the edge of the ancestral home like a tornado, and the golden elixir master who protected the body with blood shrieked and retreated. The earth shield of a remnant of the Zhao family shattered and shouted, Liu Feng, you destroy our alliance, the demon realm is opened, and we are all buried. Yilan's wind blade swept away the fallen leaves. Stop talking nonsense, Schwanger blocks the road. Schwanger's ice formation spread out, the ground was frosty and slippery, the enemy stumbled to the ground, and there was a roar of smoke, rain, and thunder. The weak point is locked, Wang Lei is in the center of the formation, and the spiritual pressure is skyrocketing. Wang Lei appeared, hunting in blood robes, with eyes as crazy as wild beasts. Liu Feng, what if you snatched the core of the jade slip? The ruins of the demon domain, blessed by the power of the demon king, my Wang family is about to be revived. He summoned bloodlight, the demonic energy filled the air like black mist, corroding the spiritual energy, and the pungent smell of burnt spiritual stone in the air. Liu Feng sneered and took the initiative to attack. The sword light in the middle stage of nascent soul was like thunder, revealed your true colors? Team, go! 2 cultivators attacked together, crush him. Pinxian water spirit and Muqing fire spirit merged, the tsunami flame swallowed the magic mist, Shuang'er ice frozen assisted, and under the smoke, rain and thunder net, the 3 golden elixirs instantly fell to the ground, their flesh and blood withered. Zishuan jumped out, and the Shou Yuan soul sacrifice started. The aura around him dimmed, and the centuries-old essence burned like smoke. Boy, take the move. Lock the magic array, open. The spirit pattern was like a giant net covering the door of the demon realm, and the demonic energy came back to bite Wang Lei. His face was twisted, and he vomited blood and retreated. Impossible, Uncle Master, you. The door trembled, the ancient demon soul roared but was locked. Zishuan coughed up blood and knelt down, with a weak voice. The whole conspiracy, Wang Lei sacrificed the demon lord's clone with his blood, intending to swallow up the city's spiritual veins. But the Imperial Alliance is here, and it can't cut off the roots. Liu Feng helped him up, and his heart warmed. Brother's sacrifice is like a beacon illuminating the road. I can become the king. The climax of the battle broke out. Wang Lei retreated steadily, and the demonic protective body shattered. He waved his palm to fight back, and the blood was like a whip. Liu Feng, die. Liu Feng ducked, the team attacked like a wave. Yilan Fengling tore the blood robe, Muqing's fire fist hit his chest directly. Wang Lei screamed and flew back, hitting the stone wall of his ancestral home. The cracks spread like spider webs. The Empire, you can't defeat the ancients. The remaining party collapsed, the demon domain door was half open and half closed, and the spiritual pressure collapsed. Liu Feng's inner transformation was brief. From being a lonely wage earner to now dominating the battlefield, his growth was like the rebirth of a phoenix. The prototype of the King of Immortality has emerged, and he can protect this country forever. The night was dark, the wind in the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing stopped, and the team gathered around, panting. Pinxian handed over the elixir. Liu Feng, Wang Lei was seriously injured and fled, but the aftermath of the demon realm has not disappeared. On the eve of the decisive battle, how will the layout be? Liu Feng looked at the black shadow in the distance, his voice was firm. Integrate Alliance resources, supply elixirs across the board. Zishuan recuperate, I will set up the ultimate spiritual formation. Tomorrow, we will attack the depths of the ancestral home and destroy the foundation of the Wang family once and for all. Zishuan smiled weakly, boy, good job. The Empire is flying like a dragon. Everyone nodded, their faces lit up with torches, and they waited for the battle at dawn. The dawn breaks like a sharp sword, and the fog in the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing is torn open by the early sun, revealing a trace of golden edge. The scorched earth smell of last night's demonic energy still lingers in the air, like the paper money burned in the alleys of old Beijing, pungent but with a decisive chill. Liu Feng stood at the height of the mountain, wearing a windbreaker and hunting. The jade slip in his hand was slightly hot. He glanced at the team and his voice was as low as a war drum. Zishuan, rest, I will take the lead in this battle. The Empire's pills are like a flood. 300 loose cultivators in the Alliance have gathered, and all nascent souls are preparing for the battle. Pinxian, the intelligence has been reconfirmed. The demon realm gate deep in Wang Lei's ancestral residence is still pulsating in the aftermath of last night. Pinxian nodded, her water spirit bloodline made her eyes as clear as autumn water. She handed over the latest tablet, and the red dot flashed on the screen. Liu Feng, that's right. Wang Lei is seriously injured, hiding in the core of the ruins, relying on the remaining soul of the Demon King's clone. Brothers from the Alliance swarmed in, and their morale was high after hearing about your nascent soul battle pill. Mu Qing and the others have set up the blood array, and the dual cultivation attack will be activated at any time. Mu Qing waved his fist at the side. The aura of the fire spirit made the surrounding grass blades curl. Mr. Liu, just do it. The magic mist last night made my hands itch. Wan Lei, a bastard, dares to touch the imperial spiritual veins. Sisters, burn down the ancestral home. Shuang'er and Yanyu smiled at each other. The ice and thunder auras intertwined into a web, and Yi Lan's wind blade rotated on the fingertips. Yes, Mr. Liu, we have mastered the fusion technique. This time let him try the combined work of wind, fire, thunder, and ice. Zishuan leaned under the tree. Although his face was pale, his eyes were full of pride. He stroked his beard and chuckled. Boy, go ahead. Old man, I am severely weakened after the soul sacrifice, but looking at your posture, the empire is like a dragon, and its rapid rise is just around the corner. Remember, the jade slip core with my heart in your hands, the roots of the demon realm are cut off, and the ancient conspiracy is wiped out. Liu Feng patted him on the shoulder and felt warm in his heart. The wage earner who used to work overtime until he vomited blood is now carrying a heavy weight on his shoulders. This brother's light has illuminated my path. I must let him enjoy his old age. He nodded. Brother, recover from your injuries. The Imperial Nursing Home will reserve a seat for you. Team, let's go. The mountain road winds like a dragon's spine, and the team rushes towards the ancestral home like a tide. The sound of footsteps hits the soil, mixed with the fragrance of elixirs and the low hum of spiritual stones. The monks from the Loose Cultivator Alliance had gathered in front of the door, and there was a huge darkness. Some people shouted, "Long live Mr. Liu! The Imperial Elixir saved my life, we will fight this battle." Liu Feng waved his hand, the elixir fell like rain, and the nascent soul war elixir melted at the entrance. Everyone's cultivation was instantly stable, and the light of iron blood ignited in their eyes. The outer wall of the ancestral home collapsed, and there was a faint glow of blood. Wan Lei's roar came from the depths. Liu Feng, do you think the Alliance can suppress me? The demon realm is opened, the demon lord's clone is resurrected, and the Wang family bloodline will last forever. The offensive exploded like thunder. Mu Qing took the lead, and the power of the fire soul nascent soul turned into a fire dragon, burning the door of the house. Stop bragging, Wan Lei, get out and die. The flames lit the stone wall, and the heat wave hit his face. The enemy's golden elixir remnants pounced, the earth shield flashed with golden light, and a master of the Zhao family roared, "The Empire is arrogant, the devil protect me." Shuang'er sneered. The ice formation covered the ground, and the ground instantly became frosty. The enemy's feet slipped and fell to the ground. Barbaric? This is called justice. Yanyu, go to the thunder net. Yanyu blinked his eyelashes. The thunder was like a silver snake, the roar was deafening, and several golden pills screamed, and the smell of electricity was filled. Liu Feng's figure was like lightning, sword light and thunder piercing the heart of the formation. Pin Xian followed closely, Shui Ling bloodline and his dual cultivation tacit understanding. The spiritual energy blended into the water and fire sword light. Liu Feng, I will protect your left wing, the evil energy is coming. Wang Lei finally appeared, his blood robe was broken, his face was distorted like a ghost, he formed seals with his hands, and the door of the demon realm suddenly opened, the black mist surged out like a tide, corroding the spiritual energy, and the spiritual veins in the distance trembled faintly. Haha, Liu Feng, you are late. Demon Lord's clone is coming. An ancient demonic shadow condensed, 10 feet high, and the demonic energy whipped out like a whip, cracking the earth. The casual cultivators backed away, their faces pale. This is the peak power of nascent soul. The team attack broke out instantly, and Yilan Fengling tore through the magic mist. Sisters, bloodline fusion. Mu Qing's fire fist and Shuang'er's ice were intertwined, assisted by the mist and rain thunder net. Pinshuan's water spirit was like a tsunami shield, and the four beauties' spiritual energy gathered around Liu Feng. The dual cultivation techniques were operating to the extreme, and the spiritual pressure was like a landslide. Liu Feng's inner monologue flashed through, from an urban ant to the current ruler, this transformation is like a phoenix rising from the fire. The empire is not ambition, but protection. He shouted, "Go!" The torrent of elixirs suppressed the demonic shadow. The casual cultivators from behind threw countless war elixirs, and the spiritual energy exploded. The demonic shadow roared but retreated step by step. Wang Lei's eyes flashed with despair. Impossible. How can you destroy the foundation of the Wang family? The battle was fierce. Liu Feng's sword light went straight to the core of the demon realm, the jade slip glowed in the palm of his hand, the seal of the spiritual realm collided with the demonic energy, and roared like thunder. Zixuan sent a weak voice from a distance, "Boy, the key to the jade slip is unlocked now. The secret of the ancient battle between immortals and demons is behind the door." Liu Feng nodded, pouring spiritual energy into the jade slip, and the ancient words bloomed like a galaxy, and the secret was revealed. The jade slip is not only a heritage, but also the key to the balance of the battle between immortals and demons. The Wang family conspired to overthrow the city's spiritual veins and resurrect the Demon King to dominate the hermit world. But Liu Feng's alchemy talent and dual cultivation combined their efforts to turn into pure immortal power, which can backfire on the source of demons. The demonic shadow shattered, and Wang Lei rushed towards him, his bloody palm like a hook. "Liu Feng, give me the jade slip." Liu Feng dodged and struck out with a backhand sword, lightning piercing his body. Wang Lei vomited blood and fell to the ground, his ambition turned into ashes. "You won, but the demon lord." Before he could finish his words, the demon realm gate shattered, the ancient ruins collapsed, dust flew like a sandstorm, and the ancient smell of sulfur in the air dissipated. The team cheered, and Pin Xian hugged Liu Feng with tears in her eyes. "Liu Feng, we have won. The dual cultivation team is invincible." Mu Qing and the others gathered around, fire, ice, wind, thunder, and water spirits mingled, and the beautiful partners shared the glory, and the complementary auras made their cultivation levels soar. The jade slip is completely unlocked, immortal power pours into Liu Feng's body like a tide, his meridians expand, his yuaning transforms into a god, and his cultivation reaches the top. He was surrounded by golden light, standing like a king in the city, and the joy of transformation surged in his heart, from a shrinking office worker to a cultivating overlord. Along the way, the foundation of the Pill Empire was built, the dual cultivation of emotions was the soul, and the responsibility was as high as a mountain. The casual cultivators knelt down and shouted, "Immortal Liu Feng." Wang Lei's remnants of his party were surrendered, the source of the conspiracy was wiped out, and the empire was safe. After the war, the mountains on the outskirts of Beijing returned to tranquility, and the pine forest rustled like a celebration. Liu Feng helped Zixuan up. "Brother, the soul sacrifice is over. The empire will transform from now on and become a refuge for immortal cultivators. The elixirs will be distributed fairly, the spiritual veins will be shared, and there will be no more black market competition." Zixuan laughed, and the fatigue in his eyes turned into serenity. "Boy, good job. Old man, I will take a back seat and enjoy the peace of mind while you build the immortal capital." Pin Xian leaned against Liu Feng and said in a soft voice, "Liu Feng, this world is like home with you. Let's protect it together, together." Mu Qing nodded, "Yes, the new chapter of the empire, the deep love between sisters, the shared cultivation." As the sun sets, the Empire State Building is brightly lit. Liu Feng stands on the top floor, looking at the prosperous city, with peace of mind, growing like a long river, washing away the mundane world, and finally becoming a fairy. Pin Xian gently held his hand, and everyone was filled with laughter. The glory and emotions were complete, and the world was secluded, and there was peace from now on.